Disclaimer. I apologize in advance for any words that may sound unclear or mumbled. The AI narrator used was a more affordable option, but I took care to ensure that it wouldn't interfere with the flow of the story. You may notice some sentences are slightly compressed, and if you hear the word dot between words, it's likely due to the period being read aloud as part of the sentence.
Chapter 32. Bad Influence. The morning sun cast long golden stripes across the sidewalk as Abby walked toward the school building, her two best friends, Kendra and Layla, trailing close beside her. Their voices were low, almost secretive, like they were sharing something precious. "I still think it's amazing, Abby," Kendra said, pushing her dark hair behind her ear. "I mean, your birth mom was only 13. That's insane." Abby gave a small, shy smile, tugging at the strap of her backpack. "Yeah," she said quietly. "She was young. Dumb maybe, but not evil. She wanted me to have a better life. Anne, Miranda and Ethan gave it to me." Layla, the taller of the two, nudged her gently. "You're way better off. Seriously. You got the best parents. And a big sister now." Abby's heart warmed at the thought of Elisa. Things were finally good again. Normal. Safe. They climbed the steps into the school, pushing through the crowded hallway where kids jostled for lockers and teachers barked warnings about tardies. But then they saw her. Ashley. Leaning against the lockers like she owned the whole world. Short, dirty blonde hair dyed in sharp streaks of purple and silver. Combat boots scuffing the floor. Denim jacket covered in safety pins and hand-drawn patches. Ashley wasn't exactly popular, not in the cheerleader sense. But she was known. Feared even. Punk. Rebellious. Trouble. The kind of girl you didn't look at too long. The kind of girl teachers called the principal about behind closed doors. The kind of girl they always avoided. And they were about to do just that, hurry past without making eye contact, when Ashley suddenly straightened and looked right at Abby. "Hey," she said, her voice smooth but a little too casual. Kendra froze. Layla stiffened. Abby blinked, surprised, her feet glued to the floor. Ashley sauntered forward, hands tucked in her pockets, a smirk playing on her lips. "You're Abby, right?" Abby nodded hesitantly. Ashley shrugged one shoulder. "I just wanted to say hi. And..." Her voice lowered, almost shy. "Maybe talk." Kendra grabbed Abby's wrist. Layla whispered urgently, "Don't." Abby's heart hammered. Every instinct told her to keep moving. To stay away. But something about Ashley's face, something oddly vulnerable, almost scared, made her hesitate. Ashley lifted her hands slightly in a surrender gesture. "I'm not gonna hurt you. I swear." Her friends tugged her arm gently, pleading with their eyes. Abby wavered. Nervous. Feared. But curiosity flickered inside her too. And the tiniest, most dangerous thought whispered, "Maybe she's not so bad." Slowly, Abby pulled her arm free from her friend's grasp. She took a cautious step forward. Ashley's smirk deepened just a fraction, but she kept her voice soft, almost friendly. "Come on," Ashley said. "Just want to talk." And without waiting, she turned and started walking down the hall, expecting Abby to follow. Abby looked back at Kendra and Layla, their faces filled with fear and disbelief. She gave them a small, shaky smile. And then, he followed. Right into Ashley's world. The cafeteria was its usual chaos, kids laughing, shouting across tables, the clatter of trays and silverware echoing off the high ceilings. Abby balanced her lunch tray carefully as she made her way toward the familiar spot where Kendra and Layla were waving her over. But halfway there she heard her name. "Abby." She turned and saw Ashley leaning back in her chair at a table by the windows, surrounded by 3 other kids dressed almost exactly like her, punk jackets, boots, streaked hair, smug half-smiles. Ashley waved her over casually like they were already old friends. Abby hesitated, shifting her tray nervously from one hand to the other. Kendra and Layla were still waving frantically at her from across the room. Ashley stood up, sensing the hesitation, and called out, "You can bring your friends too. Come on, we don't bite." Her crew chuckled, some of them flashing crooked smiles. Still nervous, Abby glanced at her friends, then back at Ashley. It would be rude to say no, right? And besides, it was just lunch. Nothing bad could happen at lunch. Right? Carefully, Abby made her way toward Ashley's table, motioning for Kendra and Layla to follow. Kendra shot her a wide-eyed, "Are you serious?" look, but grabbed her tray and fell in step. Layla followed, chewing her lip nervously. They slid into seats, keeping their trays close like shields. For a second, nobody said anything. Ashley broke the silence first. "So," she said with a playful grin, "how about we actually, talk like normal human beings?" She popped a fry into her mouth and leaned back in her seat, looking completely at ease. "You're Elise's little sister, right?" she asked, glancing at Abby. "Yeah." Abby replied, her voice tight with nerves. Ashley leaned in, smirking. "I saw her on TV. She's the one who made that old lady hurt herself, isn't she?" "She didn't make anyone do anything," Abby snapped, her tone more defensive than she meant it to be. Ashley chuckled. "Relax. I think it's super cool. He's like an X-Men or something. If I had social skills like that, I'd never pay for lunch again." The table burst into laughter. Even Abby let out a small giggle, surprised by it. Kendra and Layla exchanged a glance. Then Kendra rolled her eyes in mock disgust at her cold slice of pizza. "Ugh, why does this taste like wet cardboard?" "Because it is wet cardboard," Layla said dryly, making everyone laugh again. They moved on to complaining about boring teachers, cafeteria disasters, and younger siblings who couldn't take a hint. With each joke and shared annoyance, the tension melted away. Even Abby started to feel it, that rare sense of being included. Of being normal. Ashley kept the conversation light and easy, just funny enough to make them feel included but not so personal that it raised alarms. They started talking about home life, who had strict parents, who had chill ones, who was an only child. Kendra mentioned her 3 little brothers who drove her crazy. Layla talked about her stepdad trying way too hard to be cool. When it was Abby's turn, she hesitated. Ashley noticed immediately but didn't push. Just gave her that easy, inviting smile. Abby spoke carefully. "My parents are good. I'm adopted, actually." Ashley's eyebrows lifted slightly as if impressed. "That's cool. Must have been kinda wild growing up without, huh?" Abby shrugged, trying to downplay it. "It's not a big deal. They love me." Ashley nodded like she understood completely. "Yeah. Sometimes real family isn't blood anyway." The way she said it was so smooth, so natural that even Kendra and Layla relaxed a little more. For the rest of lunch, they joked and laughed like everything was normal. Like Ashley wasn't a hurricane waiting to hit. After school, the 3 girls walked together across the parking lot, their backpacks slung low, the sun dipping behind the trees. At first they were quiet. Then Layla blurted out, "I still don't trust her." Kendra nodded quickly. "Same. She's too cool. Too nice. It's fake." "I know it is." Abby bit her lip, glancing back toward the school doors where Ashley and her friends were laughing about something. "I don't know," Abby said quietly. "She seems okay." Layla shook her head. "I'm telling you, Abby. Be careful. She's not what she looks like." Kendra added, "We're not saying don't talk to her. Just don't tell her everything. Keep some stuff private." Abby smiled weakly and promised she would. But deep down, a small voice whispered something else. Something far more dangerous. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe Ashley really was different. Maybe she understood her in a way no one else did. Chapter 33. Abby swung open the front door, her backpack bouncing against her shoulder as she stepped inside. The smell of something baking drifted from the kitchen, cookies maybe, and she heard the faint hum of music playing from the living room speaker. Home. Safe. Warm. Normal. Ethan was sitting at the kitchen table reading over some paperwork, his reading glasses perched low on his nose. Kelly was at the counter pulling a tray of chocolate chip cookies from the oven. Both of them looked up the moment they heard her come in. "Hey kiddo," Ethan said, smiling warmly. "How was school today?" Abby dropped her backpack by the door and wandered into the kitchen, grabbing a cookie off the tray before Kelly could even set it down. "It was good," she said between bites. Kelly gave her a mock frown. "Did you even taste that before inhaling it?" Abby grinned. Then she remembered. "Oh, I made a new friend today." That got both of their attention. Ethan set down his papers. Kelly turned, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "Yeah?" Ethan asked, smiling. "What's her name?" "Her name's Ashley," Abby said. "She's different. Kinda punk but really cool. She asked me to sit with her at lunch. And she actually invited Kendra and Layla too." Kelly's brows pulled together slightly. Ethan stayed neutral but attentive. Abby noticed the look but kept going. "At first we were all kinda scared, you know? He's got this whole rebel thing going on. But she was really nice. Funny too. Not like, fake popular girls. She was just easy to talk to." Kelly exchanged a brief glance with Ethan. And what did Kendra and Layla think? Kelly asked carefully. Abby shrugged. They're still kinda nervous about her. They think I should be careful. Ethan leaned back in his chair, tapping a finger against the table thoughtfully. Sounds like they're just looking out for you, he said. I know, Abby said quickly. But Ashley was really cool today. I mean, she even said my dancing was amazing. And she said having Elisa as a sister must be like the greatest thing ever. Kelly softened a little at the mention of Elisa. Well, she said, handing Abby another cookie, it's okay to make new friends. Just take your time getting to know people. You don't have to tell everyone everything right away. Abby nodded, accepting the advice easily. Ethan smiled and reached over, ruffling her hair. You're smart, kiddo. Just keep your eyes open, that's all. I will, Abby promised. And she meant it. At least, he thought she did. Later that evening, the front door clicked open again. Abby glanced up from the couch, her textbook halfway forgotten on her lap. The sound of the door always caught her attention, but tonight, it brought a particular kind of comfort. Sure enough, a familiar voice called out, light but slightly tired. I'm home. Did anyone finish that last slice of cheesecake, or should I just prepare myself for heartbreak? Abby grinned and jumped to her feet. It's still there, but I almost claimed it. Elisa stepped into the living room, slipping off her shoes with a sigh of relief. She wore her usual work attire, a stylish, dark-fitted zip-up with her studio's logo embroidered on the sleeve, leggings, and a graceful confidence in every step. Even when tired, she moved like a dancer. Wow, Abby said, half-joking, you look like you just taught a whole company of Broadway kids. Elisa snorted. Close. A room full of 8-year-olds who think pirouettes are some kind of warrior spin attack from a video game. She walked into the kitchen, grabbed a fork, and returned with the last slice of cheesecake in hand. So, she said between bites, how was school? You've got that look on your face. What look? The look that says you either just received a badge of honor or got asked to join some mysterious underground dance league. Abby laughed and flopped back onto the couch. Neither. Just made a new friend today. Elisa raised an eyebrow as she leaned against the counter. Oh, du tao. She's not new, technically. Her name's Ashley. She's a sophomore. Apparently we've been going to the same school this whole time and never crossed paths. Elisa gave a thoughtful nod. All right, go on. She invited me to sit with her at lunch while me and my friends. She was super chill. Like, charismatic but not fake, you know? Confident but not a jerk. She just kind of knew how to make us feel like we belonged there. Sounds like someone you could get along with, Elisa said. I think so, Abby replied. She even knew I trained with you. Elisa paused mid-bite. Really? Yeah. Said Danielle's work was hard to miss. Elisa smiled softly at the mention of her old name. Well, I guess my reputation precedes me. But don't worry, Abby said with a smirk. I made sure to call you Elisa when I talked about you. Good girl, Elisa teased. They sat in companionable silence for a moment until the doorbell rang. Elisa tilted her head. Expecting someone? Yeah. Kendra and Layla are coming over to finish our group project. They should have been here by now, honestly. Just as she finished speaking, the front door opened again and the familiar sound of giggles spilled through the hallway. Kendra and Layla stepped into the living room, each holding snacks from the corner store. We got the goods, Layla called. Also, I tripped over your sidewalk gnome again. It's a frog, Ethan's voice echoed faintly from the back room. The girls laughed, but as they stepped into the room and saw Elisa sitting comfortably at the counter, they both froze like deer caught in headlights. Layla blinked. You're home. Elisa smiled. Yep. Miss me? Kendra scrambled for words. Yeah. Not like weirdly. Just like wow. I told you she was home, Abby said, rolling her eyes playfully. We know, Layla said. We just didn't expect her to be. Her as your sister. You mean without her studio face on? Elisa said, folding her arms playfully. No, we mean like. Kendra's voice lowered. You're kind of our idol. Still. Elisa gave them a wink. Well, now I'm blushing. They sat down together, pulling out notebooks and opening up Google Docs like they were definitely planning to work. But soon enough the conversation drifted like it always did when the three of them got together, filled with chatter about school, dumb hallway drama, and which teachers were clearly out to ruin lives. Eventually the name came up again. So how do you feel about Ashley now? Abby asked, directing the question to Kendra and Layla. Kendra wrinkled her nose. She's fine, I guess. Layla didn't say anything at first. She was picking at a loose thread on her hoodie, but her silence said more than her words would have. Elisa, sitting at the counter, just listened, pretending not to, but catching every word. Like, Kendra continued, she's nice. Sure. But it's the type of nice, you know? She's got that smile that says she's always 3 steps ahead of you. And the way she asked us questions today, it was like she already knew us. She probably just overheard stuff, Abby said. Layla finally looked up. Or maybe she just wanted us to think that. That made the room go a little quieter. Elisa didn't say anything. She just sipped her water slowly, her eyes unreadable. She remembered people like that, people who knew how to insert themselves perfectly into a conversation, how to mirror your emotions, how to make you feel seen without ever revealing much of themselves. She'd met dancers like that before. And not all of them had good intentions. So she said nothing. These were just kids talking about high school politics. She didn't want to overanalyze it. Not yet. But in the back of her mind, something settled. Something quiet and quailed, a little knot of curiosity just beginning to tighten. Chapter 34. The next day at lunch, the cafeteria buzzed with its usual midday noise. Trays clattering, conversations overlapping, laughter, the occasional sharp voice of a monitor telling someone to sit down or stop tossing grapes. Abby walked in with Kendra and Layla at her side, like always, already in the middle of retelling something ridiculous a teacher said in 3rd period. And then he said, "You'll use this in real life someday, like I'm really going to apply triangle inequality at my wedding," Abby said, laughing. Layla snorted. That class is a war crime. They made their way toward their usual table. But Abby slowed down as she saw Ashley. Already sitting confidently at her usual spot near the center of the cafeteria, surrounded by a mix of popular kids, upperclassmen, and those types who always seemed like they didn't even go to class but still somehow knew everything. Ashley spotted her immediately and smiled. She stood up, subtly brushing her perfectly styled hair behind her shoulder, and made her way over fast but not rushed. Intentional. "Abby," she said warmly. "Hey." Abby straightened a little. "Hey, Ashley." Ashley gave a quick glance to Kendra and Layla, then back to Abby. "Can I borrow you for a second? Come sit at my table?" Abby blinked. We were just about to." Ashley cut in, lowering her voice slightly. "Just you. I want to talk for a sec, something kind of important." Immediately the air shifted. Layla and Kendra both looked at Abby. Kendra's face tightened. Layla raised an eyebrow, not saying anything, but her expressions spoke volumes. Ashley smiled at them, but it was tight, almost rehearsed. "You guys don't mind, right?" Kendra's jaw flexed like she was fighting the urge to speak her mind. Layla looked directly at Abby and gave the faintest shrug. "It's your call." Abby hesitated but nodded. "Okay. Just for a bit." Ashley linked her arm with Abby's like they'd been best friends for years and guided her toward her table. It was like stepping onto a stage. People looked up, noticed her. Ashley didn't care. She smiled like a queen bringing someone into her court. They sat down, and for a moment Abby expected something serious. Maybe Ashley had a problem. Maybe someone said something. Maybe she needed help. But Ashley just leaned in with a casual grin and said, "So, I've been thinking, you're seriously cool." Abby blinked. "Huh. I mean it," Ashley said. "You've got something about you. Talent, chill energy, confidence. It's rare. You don't try too hard like the others. You just are." Abby was thrown for a moment. "Thanks." Ashley sipped from her drink like she'd just delivered a TED Talk. "We should hang out sometime. Just the 2 of us. Like outside of school. No offense to your friends, they're sweet. But I feel like you and I, we could vibe on a whole other level." Abby tried to hide the shift in her posture, the slight tensing. There it was. She glanced back over at her usual table. Kendra was watching. They both looked proactive. She turned back to Ashley. "Maybe. Yeah. I guess that could be fun." Ashley smiled wider. "Great. Let's make it happen." But even as she smiled, Abby couldn't shake the weird feeling creeping up her spine. It wasn't anything Ashley had said outright. It was what she didn't say. What she made Abby feel without ever forcing it. Separate, pulled, chosen. It sounded flattering. But it also sounded like a setup. The final bell had rung and the school day was over, but the conversation wasn't. Abby walked down the sidewalk with Kendra and Layla. the three of them heading in the same direction with their bags slung over their shoulders and the sun dipping behind the trees. "So," Kendra said, glancing sideways at Abby. "What was so important that she couldn't say it in front of us?" Layla stayed quiet, but Abby could already feel the heat of her stare, waiting for the answer. Abby shifted her bag higher on her shoulder. "She just had a dog. That's all." Layla frowned. "You said it was important." "I thought it was. I mean, that's what she made it sound like," Abby admitted. Kendra narrowed her eyes. "And?" "She just said she thought I was cool," Abby said with a small laugh as if trying to brush it off. "Said we should hang out sometime. Just us." There was a pause. A long one. "That's it," Layla finally said. Abby looked between them. "Yeah, that's it." Kendra scoffed. "Okay, I'm sorry, but that's weird." Layla nodded. "Seriously, she pulls you away from us like it's urgent and then it's just... You're cool? Come on." Abby sighed, already feeling the pushback. "You're overthinking it." "No, we're not," Kendra said quickly. "We're looking out for you." "She's been watching you," Layla added. "You don't think it's strange that she just suddenly noticed you and now she wants private hangouts?" "She probably just didn't feel comfortable approaching me before." "Some people are like that," Abby replied, her tone calm but slightly defensive. Kendra looked at her, genuinely frustrated. "Abby, you're smart. We're not saying you can't have other friends. But this girl? Something's off." "Yeah," Layla said. "It's not even anything obvious. It's just this. I can't explain it, but I don't like the way she looks at people." "You're judging her," Abby said quietly. "No," Kendra replied. "We're cautious of her." "She's actually really nice," Abby said, crossing her arms. "She's just misunderstood. Maybe a little intense, but she hasn't done anything wrong." Kendra opened her mouth, then closed it. Layla looked at the ground as they walked, her jaw tight. Finally, Layla said, "Fine. Just be careful, okay? That's all we're saying." "We're not trying to pick a fight," Kendra added. "If you like her, we'll respect that. But don't shut us out if something feels off later." Abby nodded, the air between them slightly tense now. "I won't." They didn't say much for the rest of the walk, not out of anger, just something quieter than usual. Like everyone was trying to process how to feel about a line they weren't used to walking. A new friend. A quiet warning. A small crack. Nothing had broken. But something had shifted. Chapter 35. That night, the house was calm, the kind of calm that only came when the sun had long dipped behind the trees and the world outside felt muted. Abby sat at the dining table with her homework spread out in front of her, chin in hand, barely halfway focused. The faint hum of the dishwasher filled the background, and the soft flicker of light over the kitchen island made the whole space feel cozy and lived in. The front door opened with a familiar creak and close. "Guess who brought dinner rolls?" Elisa called as she walked in, kicking off her shoes and setting a takeout bag on the counter. Ethan popped his head out from the hallway. "Please tell me they're the soft ones." "The only kind I get," Elisa replied with a smirk. Abby looked up. "Hey, long day." Elisa let out a breath as she joined her at the table, her hair tied up in a messy twist, a few strands falling loose. "Kind of. I had one student today, little girl, maybe 10, she's been struggling with one of the transitions in the solo routine. No matter how I explain it, she gets overwhelmed and shuts down." "Sounds like a technique issue," Ethan said, sitting down nearby with a water bottle in hand. "I thought so too," Elisa said. "But it's not just that. She gets hyper-focused on certain things, gets really upset if we change music or tempo. I've been wondering if she might be on the spectrum." Kelly stepped out from the laundry room with a folded towel in hand. "What's her name?" "Rachel," Elisa said. Kelly nodded slowly and asked, "Isn't she the one that's in foster care?" "Yes," Elisa answered. "Her ex-foster dad was the one who stole my panties and was caught being creepy with them." Kelly laughed. "I really want to figure out how to teach her in a way that works for her," Elisa said, thoughtful. "Like maybe using visual anchors or shorter verbal prompts. Something that makes it feel less like a wall she's trying to climb." "You always say the right things," Kelly said warmly. "That's what makes you so good at this." "You're already helping her just by noticing," Ethan added. "A lot of people wouldn't even take the time." Elisa smiled faintly and leaned back in her chair. "Thanks." There was a moment of silence, the kind that wasn't awkward, just natural. Abby was quiet for a second, twirling her pencil between her fingers before speaking. "So, I've been meaning to tell you more about this girl from school. Elisa glanced over. Ashley. Abby nodded. Yeah. We sat together again at lunch today. Well, I did. She didn't really want Kendra and Layla there. Kelly and Ethan both looked up at that. She said it was something important, Abby continued, but then it was just compliments, basically. Said she thought I was cool. Wanted to hang out just the two of us sometime. Elisa leaned in slightly. How did that make you feel? I don't know, Abby said. Flattered, I guess. She's really confident and there's something about her that makes people pay attention. But I also feel like I don't want to hurt Kendra and Layla. They didn't say anything harsh, but I could tell they weren't thrilled. Ethan spoke gently. It's always okay to make new friends. That's part of growing. But sometimes people don't show you everything about themselves right away. I know, Abby said. They think I'm being too trusting. Are you? Elisa asked carefully, her tone soft. Abby hesitated. I don't think so. She hasn't done anything bad. She's just intense. And maybe they're just being protective. That's not a bad thing, Kelly said. They care about you. I know, Abby whispered. Elisa watched her sister for a moment, then nodded. I think it's great you're branching out. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't want you to be careful. Abby looked up. You don't like her either? I didn't say that, Elisa replied. I don't know her. But I know you. And I know how loyal you are. Just promise me that if something doesn't feel right, even if it's small, you won't brush it off. I promise, Abby said. Elisa smiled, then nudged her playfully. Also, if she ever messes with you, just remember, I have insane flexibility and a terrifying mom voice. Ethan raised an eyebrow. You don't have kids. I train preteens in matching leotards. I'm basically qualified. They all laughed and the moment lightened. But beneath the laughter, Elisa stored it all away, the name, the behavior, the instincts of her sister's friends. She didn't jump to conclusions. But she knew what it looked like when someone tried to get too close too fast. And she wasn't about to let anything or anyone mess with Abby. Not now. Not ever. Chapter 36. It had been a couple of weeks since Ashley had swept into Abby's life like a sudden gust of wind, and in that short time, everything had changed. Lunches were different now. So were the walks to class, the after-school texts, the weekend plans. Kendra and Layla, once ever present, had slowly faded into the background, not by malice but by momentum. Abby hadn't meant to push them away. It just happened. Ashley had a way of making her feel like she was at the center of everything. That Saturday, the two of them were at the mall, walking side by side past store windows filled with spring fashion displays. Ashley carried 2 bags already and was sipping an iced drink through a straw, talking about how she had totally hacked the school's social structure just by being herself. Abby laughed. That's not how that works. It is when you're me, Ashley said, spinning once as they stepped into a boutique. Come on, let's find something you wouldn't normally wear. They browsed racks of dresses, crop tops, jackets, and activewear. Abby found a few pieces she liked, modest, comfortable, nothing too flashy, while Ashley went straight for the daring section. That's when Ashley held up a pair of lacy, barely their underwear with a grin. These, she said, turning toward Abby. You'd look so sexy in these. Abby blinked, caught off guard. What? Ashley didn't drop her smile. Seriously, with your figure, boys would die to see you in something like this. Abby shook her head quickly. I'm not really into that. Ashley raised an eyebrow. Why not? I'm waiting, Abby said, turning away from the display. For marriage. Ashley laughed, not meanly but amused, like she thought it was adorable. That's cute. Abby's cheeks flushed. It's not about being cute. It's what I believe. As a Christian. Ashley reached out and touched her arm lightly, softening her tone. Hey, I think it's awesome that you have such high principles. Really, not many people do. Abby hesitated, surprised by the shift. Ashley continued, voice gentle now, almost sisterly. Just don't let them trap you, you know? Don't be a slave to them. You set your rules so you can always change them. That's not weakness, that's growth. Abby looked at the underwear in her hand. For a second she really did consider it, and part of her, the part that liked being liked, wanted to feel daring. Beautiful. See? But then she shook her head, slowly but firmly. No, she said, setting them back. Don't worry about it. I set these principles for a reason. Ashley smiled, still warm but unreadable. Hey, good girl. Just checking. They kept shopping, laughing, trying on outfits. But somewhere deep in Abby's mind, a small voice whispered, not loud enough to change anything yet, just enough to be noticed. That was a little weird. Right? Chapter 37. It was Sunday afternoon when Ashley came over. Abby had mentioned it casually over breakfast, just a quick visit, nothing big, just some help on a school project. Kelly had lit up with enthusiasm. That's wonderful, she said, already straightening the living room. We'd love to meet her. Ethan glanced up from his coffee. Is this the friend from school? Yeah, Abby said, stirring her cereal. She's really nice. You'll like her. Elisa, sitting silently at the counter with a notebook in her hand, gave the smallest glance toward her sister. She said nothing, but she filed it away. When the doorbell rang, Kelly practically bounced to open it. Abby followed, smoothing her shirt nervously. Ashley stood on the porch in a flattering top and light jeans, her posture perfect, smile effortless. Hi, she said brightly. Sorry if I'm early. Kelly beamed. Not at all. Come in, come in. Ashley stepped into the foyer like she belonged there, complimenting the decor, saying how lovely everything smelled, how warm and welcoming the house felt. You must be Abby's mom, she said, shaking Kelly's hand. You look amazing. Honestly, I thought you were her older sister. Kelly laughed like she'd won a prize. Oh, stop. You are so sweet. Ashley turned to Ethan next. And you must be her dad, the famous mechanic. Abby says you can fix anything. Ethan stood, offering a polite smile. I try. You must be Ashley. That's me. He nodded. Nice to meet you. Then her eyes fell on Elisa. And you're... Elisa, she said simply, rising from her stool. Sister. Dance teacher. Freelance cheesecake thief. Ashley laughed politely. You must be Danielle. I was, Elisa replied, cool but not cold. Back before people started calling me by my real name again. Ashley tilted her head. Well, it's a beautiful name. You look younger than I expected. And you're exactly how I expected, Elisa said with a soft, unreadable smile. For a moment, the room held a subtle stillness, not hostile but cautious. Kelly, ever the peacemaker, waved them toward the living room. Come sit. We were just about to bring out some snacks. As they settled, Ashley kept her charm dialed all the way up, asking polite questions, complimenting Abby in little ways that made her glow. She was smooth, engaging, confident. But to Ethan, something felt rehearsed. Her answers were too clean. Her compliments just a little too frequent. Like someone who had studied warmth but hadn't lived in it. And to Elisa it was something more. It was in the way Ashley glanced around the room like she was sizing it up. In how her gaze landed on Abby just a second longer than it should. In how every sentence, every smile had just enough performance to be perfect but not enough imperfection to be real. She'd been Danielle once. She knew what a carefully crafted persona looked like. But when she played Danielle, it wasn't a mask, it was a survival mechanism. It was someone who loved Abby from a distance and didn't know how to come home. Someone who didn't know if she even deserved to. Ashley, she wasn't hiding from anything. She had already decided who she wanted to be. And that wasn't good. After about an hour, Ashley stood to leave. Thank you all for having me, she said, giving Kelly a warm hug. You've got an amazing family. Kelly looked genuinely sad to see her go. You're welcome here anytime, sweetie. Ashley turned to Abby. We still on for Thursday? Yeah, Abby said, walking her to the door. Text me later. They said goodbye and Ashley disappeared down the path to her rideshare. Abby closed the door and turned around with a smile. See? Told you she was great. She's polite, Ethan said. Kelly laughed. Oh, come on. She's lovely. Elisa didn't speak right away. She just looked at the door, thoughtful. Something wrong? Abby asked. Elisa looked at her for a long second, then finally said, just be careful, Abs. Why? Abby asked, a little defensive now. Elisa gave a small shrug. Girls like that don't come into your life to fit in. They come to take it over. Abby frowned. That's not fair. Maybe, Elisa said, turning back toward the kitchen. But it's not nothing either. He said no more. But inside, her instincts had woken up. Ashley was more than just a bad influence. She was a threat. Chapter 38, The Sleepover. Friday night had come quickly and so had the sleepover. Ashley had brought an overnight bag with designer logos on the side and a smile that didn't falter once, even when she walked into the house like she'd been there 100 times before. Abby was excited, chatting non-stop as they set the table for dinner, laughing at inside jokes that hadn't existed a month ago. The family gathered around the table. Kelly had made her famous baked chicken and garlic potatoes, and the conversation flowed easily at first. Light, normal, almost. But as plates filled and drinks were poured, Elisa leaned forward just slightly and set her eyes on Ashley. "So," she said casually, "where did you grow up?" Ashley didn't miss a beat. "Oh, all over. My mom and I moved around a lot. Military families, you know how it is." Ethan raised an eyebrow but didn't speak. "That must have been tough," Elisa said, cutting her chicken. "Always having to figure out who you were in a new place." Ashley shrugged. "I guess. But I think moving around gave me an advantage. I learned how to read people fast." "I can see that," Elisa said smoothly. "You read rooms like you've rehearsed them." Ashley's smile tightened for half a second. "Well, I try to be adaptable. Unlike some people, I don't need a script." Elisa didn't flinch. She tilted her head, playing along. "Scripts can be helpful, especially when you're trying to learn how to be someone better." Ashley gave a light laugh, but there was something stiff about it. "That's sweet. It's important to know when to change, and when to accept that some people just never will." "Exactly," Elisa replied, setting her fork down neatly. "Like me, for example. I'm still emotionally constipated, a little intense, and pretty bad at pretending I like people I don't. I'm working on it." Ashley blinked, unsure if it was a joke or an insult. "That's honest." "Honesty's all I've got," Elisa said, leaning back in her chair. "I'd never survive trying to impress people. Way too exhausting." There was a small pause. A beat of silence so sharp it could cut glass. Ashley reached for her water, clearly rattled. "Well, I guess some of us don't have to try that hard." Ethan smiled softly at his plate, pretending not to be paying attention. Abby looked between them, sensing something but not fully understanding what was unfolding. Elisa offered a warm, almost innocent smile. "Trying too hard can be a sign of effort. Trying not to look like you're trying? That's where the real game is." Ashley opened her mouth, but no words came out. She stared at Elisa for a moment longer, something flickering in her eyes. For the first time since Abby had met her, Ashley didn't have a comeback. She wasn't used to being outmatched. She wasn't used to being seen through. And in that moment she knew, Elisa wasn't someone she could charm, manipulate, or control. Not even close. Ethan lifted his glass and took a slow sip of water, watching quietly with the smallest flicker of pride behind his calm exterior. Dinner continued, but something had shifted at the table. Ashley had stepped into the wrong room with the wrong woman. And Elisa? She just made it clear she saw everything. Upstairs in Abby's room, the light was dim and the air had settled into a quiet calm. The soft buzz of the small fan in the corner mixed with faint music from her speaker, low enough to talk over, high enough to fill the silence. Abby sat cross-legged on the bed in her pajama shorts and t-shirt, brushing her hair while Ashley lounged nearby, sprawled comfortably on the beanbag by the window. They were laughing about something from school, a boy in their history class who never quite understood the concept of personal space. "He seriously leaned over so close to my desk that I could smell what he had for lunch," Abby said, trying not to gag at the memory. Ashley burst into laughter. "It's always the creepy ones who are the boldest." Abby giggled. "Right? Like why?" Ashley's smile lingered for a moment before slowly fading. Her voice softened. "Hey, can I ask you something?" Abby set down her brush. "Sure. Have you ever kissed anyone before?" Abby's face flushed. "What? No." Ashley tilted her head. "Not even a girl?" Abby made a face. "Not in a romantic way. That's gross." The mood in the room shifted. Ashley's smile faltered, her tone quieter now. "Don't be so homophobic, Abby." Abby straightened, flustered. "I'm not. I want my first kiss to be with a guy. That's how I feel." Ashley nodded slowly, eyes fixed on her. "That's what I said too." She sat up slightly, her voice turning slow and intimate. "But when it actually happened, I sucked at it. No joke. I literally wished I'd practiced on someone who wouldn't judge me. Someone like a girl." Abby didn't respond right away. Her heartbeat picked up. Something about the way Ashley was looking at her now made her feel like the air had gotten heavier, like something she couldn't see was creeping in around the edges. Ashley leaned in slightly, her voice soft and smooth. "It's just kissing. Not a big deal. You're so tense. You should relax. Just go with the flow." Abby looked frozen, her mouth barely parting like she wanted to say something but didn't know what. She was nervous, confused. Her skin prickled with discomfort. Just as Ashley's hand started to reach toward her, the door swung open. Elisa stood in the doorway. "Hey," she said, voice light but pointed. "Mom and Dad said to keep the door open." Abby flinched in surprise. Ashley leaned back slowly, her smile returning, thinner now. Elisa stepped into the room, walked straight to Abby and wrapped her arms around her. She kissed her gently on the forehead. "I love you," she said, clear and warm. Then, without warning, Ashley stood and walked up behind her. Before Elisa could react, Ashley leaned in and pressed a kiss to her cheek, close to her lips. "I love you, Elisa," she whispered. Elisa went still. Uncomfortable in a way that didn't show on her face, but settled deep in her eyes. She didn't respond. She only gave a small nod and turned to walk out of the room, her jaw slightly clenched. Ashley sat back on the bed like nothing had happened. "I like your sister," she said, flipping her hair over one shoulder. "She's so cool." Abby didn't answer. She was still trying to catch up to what almost just happened. Elisa stepped into the kitchen, her arms folded tight across her chest. Her expression was calm but only on the surface. Underneath, her skin crawled. Kelly stood at the sink rinsing plates. Ethan was beside her, drying them with a towel, their rhythm practiced and quiet. "Hey," Elisa said, her voice low. They both looked up. Ethan noticed her expression first. "Something wrong?" Elisa hesitated only a second before speaking. "That girl kissed me." Kelly blinked. "What?" "Not on the cheek," Elisa clarified. "Like close. Way too close. She told me she loved me right after. It was creepy. I don't feel comfortable with her being alone up there with Abby." Kelly slowly set the plate down in the rack. "She kissed you?" Elisa nodded. "It wasn't friendly. It was a statement. I don't know what kind yet, but I know that feeling. I've met girls like her, I've been her 10 times over. She wants control. And I think she's testing how far she can push." Ethan looked to Kelly, his brow furrowing. "We should move them downstairs." Kelly turned to him, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "You mean like make it a family night?" "A campout," he said. "Movie night, blankets, snacks. Whole family. That way they're not up there alone." Kelly glanced back at Elisa. She didn't need much convincing. As charming as Ashley had been earlier, Kelly had been married to Ethan long enough to trust his instincts. And she had come to trust Elisa's too. She nodded. "Hey, let's make it cozy. You grab the extra pillows and I'll put something on the TV." 15 minutes later, the living room had been transformed. Pillows and sleeping bags were spread across the floor, the couch cushions rearranged to face the television. A bowl of popcorn sat in the center of the coffee table next to a stack of DVDs and a remote. Kelly called upstairs. "Girls, come down. We're doing a living room sleepover." Abby's voice came down a moment later. "Really?" "It's tradition," Ethan added. "We used to do them when you were little. You've been overdue." Ashley and Abby came down the stairs a few minutes later in their pajama pants and hoodies, looking slightly confused. "This wasn't the plan," Ashley said, but her voice stayed light. "Plans change," Ethan said, handing her a blanket. "Welcome to the chaos." They settled in together, Abby in the middle, Ashley beside her, Elisa claiming the corner of the couch with a quiet watchfulness in her eyes. Ethan sat nearby with Kelly beside him, both casually watching the screen but also watching everything else. The lights dimmed. The movie started. Laughter echoed, popcorn flew once or twice, and the room looked like any other sleepover on the surface. But beneath it all, the family had circled the wagons. Ashley was still smiling. But so was Elisa. Only hers wasn't for show. Chapter 39. Monday morning was unusually quiet. Abby walked onto campus with her earbuds in, half listening to a song she wasn't really hearing. Her backpack felt heavier than usual. Maybe it was the lack of sleep from the weekend. Maybe it was something she couldn't name. As she approached the school doors, she spotted Kendra and Layla standing there, waiting. For a moment, her heart lifted. They hadn't hung out in a while, not properly. She knew she'd been distant, wrapped up in Ashley's world, but maybe this was their way of reaching out. Maybe they wanted to fix things. She pulled out her earbuds, smiling cautiously. "Hey." Kendra crossed her arms. "We're done." Abby blinked. "What?" "We're not your friends anymore," Layla said flatly. Abby's mouth opened but nothing came out. You think you're too good for us now? Kendra continued. Ever since Ashley showed up, you've acted like we're just background noise. I never, Abby tried. Yes you did, Layla snapped. And you've forgotten where you even came from. You got kicked off Mrs. Lynch's team because you couldn't keep up. But now you walk around like you're some prodigy just because Elisa took pity on you. That's not fair, Abby whispered, her voice trembling. Kendra scoffed. Elisa should have kicked you out too. Maybe she's just too blinded by the fact that you're family now. She trains real dancers, not charity cases. The words hit like fists. Abby stood frozen, unable to speak, her face paling as her heart raced in her chest. Layla took a step forward. You don't belong at her studio. You don't even belong at our table. Tears welled in Abby's eyes. And then she ran. She didn't know where she was going. She just knew she had to get away from the stairs, from the words still echoing behind her. Her vision blurred as she stumbled past the lockers, through a side door, and into a quiet corner near the edge of campus. She collapsed onto the steps, gasping for air, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. And then a voice. Abby. She looked up and there was Ashley, already crouching beside her like she'd been waiting for this moment. What happened? She asked softly, placing a hand on Abby's back. Abby tried to speak but choked on her own breath. Ashley pulled her into a gentle hug. I've got you. You're okay. You're okay. Abby sobbed into her shoulder, broken and humiliated. Ashley stroked her hair slowly. They don't get it. They never did. You're not like them, Abby. You're better. Stronger. Abby shook her head. They were my friends. No, they were users, Ashley whispered, her tone sharp beneath the softness. They were jealous the second someone saw you for who you really are. They hated that I brought it out of you. Abby stayed quiet, her breathing slowing but her tears still falling. Ashley tilted her face gently, brushing a tear from her cheek. Don't let people like that decide your worth, she said. Let me help you. I see you. I know you. And in that moment Abby nodded. She needed someone. And Ashley had made sure there was no one else left. Chapter 40. The final bell had rung and students poured out of the school like water breaking through a dam. Some hurried toward buses. Others hung around the steps, scrolling through phones or laughing with friends. Kendra and Layla walked together, quiet. They hadn't said much all day, not to anyone and especially not to each other. Guilt clung to them like humidity. Neither wanted to admit what they'd said, but they didn't need to. It echoed between them in every glance. As they stepped into the parking lot, they stopped cold. Elisa was there, leaning against her black car, arms crossed, hair tied back, sunglasses perched high on her head like a crown. Her studio hoodie was unzipped over a fitted tank top, and her expression was sharp enough to slice concrete. She didn't wave. She didn't smile. She waited until they got close enough before speaking. I heard what you said to my sister. Kendra froze. Layla swallowed hard. She told you? Layla asked. Elisa pushed off the car slowly. Yes. And she cried herself to sleep. Her voice was calm, controlled, but her eyes burned. I should slap both of you, she said, stepping forward. Do you have any idea what you did to her? Kendra started, but Elisa raised a hand. No. You're going to listen now. They stood still, eyes wide, silent. Abby is one of the most naturally gifted dancers I've ever trained, Elisa said, her voice low and firm. Having her in my studio isn't charity. It's a blessing. She brings light and energy and heart that you don't find in choreography. And you tore her down like she was nothing. Kendra's voice cracked. We didn't mean it. We were just angry, Elisa said. Jealous? Cowards. We're just worried about that Ashley creep, Layla cut in. We were trying to help. Then talk to me, Elisa snapped. You could have come to me. You could have said you were concerned. But instead you ambushed her. Humiliated her. Broke her heart. Kendra wiped her eyes. We messed up. We're sorry. We're so sorry. She may forgive you, Elisa said coldly, but I won't forget. She took a step closer, her eyes narrowing. Let me make this clear. Nobody talks to my baby sister like that. Ever. Not while I'm breathing. Layla nodded frantically. We're really, really sorry. We didn't mean for it to go that far. Too late, Elisa said. She turned to leave, then paused. I suggest you think hard about who you are and what kind of friends you want to be before you even think about stepping back into her life. With that, she slid into her car, slammed the door shut and drove off, leaving two shaken girls standing alone in the lot. Some bridges burn fast. Others leave scars. Chapter 41. Elisa came home late that evening, her keys jingling softly as she closed the door behind her. The house was quiet, the kind of quiet that lingered when something was heavy in the air. She found Abby in the living room, curled up on the couch with a blanket over her lap and the TV on, volume barely audible. She didn't look up when Elisa walked in. Elisa didn't hesitate. She sat down beside her. "I'm worried about her," she said quietly. Abby didn't need to ask who. "I know what you're going to say," Abby muttered. "That she's bad. That she's manipulating me." "I'm saying," Elisa replied gently, "that I've seen this before." Abby's eyes narrowed slightly. Elisa turned her whole body to face her. "Do you remember how we met?" Abby looked confused. "You mean, when I was still Danielle? When you walked into my studio for the first time? You didn't know who I was. You didn't know anything about me. But I knew you." Elisa paused, her voice softer now. "I knew the way you moved. I knew what you felt. I could see every string that had ever been pulled in you. Every wound. Every doubt. Because I've had strings too." Abby stared at her, saying nothing. Elisa leaned in. "Ashley is pulling all of them. Everyone. With precision. With purpose. And you don't even see it." Abby's jaw tightened. "That's not fair." "She isolated you," Elisa said, firmer now. "From Kendra. From Layla. From your instincts." Abby's voice cracked. "They abandoned me. They were wrong. And they've paid for it. But that doesn't make Ashley right." Abby looked away, tears forming. "I already lost my best friends." Elisa reached out and grabbed her by the shoulders, not hard, but firm enough that Abby had to face her. "You still have me," she said. "I'm not just your sister, Abby. We haven't known each other long enough to only be that. I'm your friend, and I love hanging out with you. I love hearing your stories, your ideas, your dumb jokes. I love every moment I get to make up for the years we lost." Abby's lips trembled. "I would never steer you wrong," Elisa whispered. "I just want you safe." And with that, Abby broke. She collapsed forward into Elisa's arms, crying, the pain of loss and confusion pouring out all at once. Elisa held her tightly, one hand wrapped around the back of her head, the other around her shoulders. She didn't let go. From the hallway, Ethan stood watching silently. His eyes were misty, his expression quiet. In all his years, he'd never been more proud of anyone, let alone the daughter he'd feared he might never see again. After a while, Abby pulled back, wiping her eyes. "What do I do?" she asked, her voice small. Elisa tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "You tell her you're done. That you're not interested in being her friend anymore. You don't need to fight. Just end it." Abby nodded slowly, still scared but stronger now. She wasn't alone. Not anymore. Chapter 42. Abby had spent the entire school day trying to build up the courage. The words lived in her throat, but every time she looked at Ashley, laughing, loud, charismatic, surrounded by people who adored her, the words got stuck. What if she blew up? What if she made a scene? What if Abby ended up completely alone? During lunch, Ashley leaned over at the table and whispered, "Hey, you should come with us after school. Just a small get-together. Chill people. Good vibes." Abby hesitated, her stomach twisting. "I don't know." Ashley raised an eyebrow. "You're not still mad about the sleepover, are you?" "No, I just..." "Then what's the problem?" Ashley said louder now. "It's not like I'm asking you to rob a bank." Everyone at the table laughed. Abby forced a smile. "Hey, sure." That afternoon, Abby stood at the front door as Ethan and Kelly grabbed their keys. She tugged at the strap of her backpack. Ashley and I are going to hang out at the mall for a bit," she said, trying to sound casual. Ethan paused mid-step. "Which mall?" "The one on West Haven." Kelly looked up. "All right, but we're dropping you off. And we're picking you up. You understand?" Abby nodded quickly. "Yeah, totally." "You stay at the mall," Ethan said firmly, eyes narrowing. "Nowhere else. Be where we drop you when we come back." Abby nodded again, more slowly this time. "I will." Already she felt the pressure rising in her chest. The mall was loud and colorful, music pumping through the overhead speakers, teenage voices echoing in chaotic bursts. Ashley led the way, Abby trailing slightly behind, not quite sure when she had started following rather than walking beside. They entered a shop tucked at the corner of the second level. Dark lighting, neon signs, edgy branding. The kind of place that should have had a bold 18+ only sticker on the door. It didn't. Inside, the walls were lined with things Abby had never seen in person. Racks and displays of items that felt wrong just to look at, let alone touch. "Check this out," Ashley said, holding up something Abby instantly looked away from. "This stuff isn't even behind glass," Abby whispered. "Should we even be in here?" Ashley laughed. If they didn't want kids coming in, they'd put a sign up. Abby walked cautiously through the aisles, trying not to stare, but Ashley was fully comfortable, flipping through things, cracking jokes, throwing around words Abby had never said out loud. Then Ashley picked something up and leaned over, whispering, "You should take this." Abby froze. "What?" "Just slip it into your bag. You'll never get caught." "I'm not stealing," Abby said quietly. "I don't do stuff like that." Ashley's smile faded just a little. "Why not? You scared?" Abby swallowed hard. "I'm not scared. I just don't want to." Ashley rolled her eyes. "Suit yourself." And then, as casually as if she were fixing her sleeve, she slipped the item into her purse. Abby's breath caught in her throat. "Ashley." "Relax," Ashley said, brushing past her. "Act normal." They left the store together, walking briskly back into the mall's central court. Abby felt sick, checking over her shoulder more than once. No one stopped them. No alarms went off. But the guilt pressed down like a brick. Ashley just laughed carefree. "See? Told you." Abby didn't answer. She didn't know what to say. Every part of her felt twisted up inside. Then Ashley checked her phone and looked up. "So, everyone's heading to my place. You coming?" Abby blinked. "You said this was just the mall." "I said we were starting at the mall," Ashley said, her tone sharper now. "Don't be dramatic." "I told my parents I'd be here," Abby replied. Ashley tilted her head, irritation creeping into her voice. "You can text them. Tell them we're just hanging out. What's the big deal?" Abby hesitated. She wanted to say no. She needed to. But Ashley's eyes were already narrowed. "I mean, if you don't want to hang out, just say that." Abby swallowed hard. "No, it's fine. I'll come." Ashley smiled again like nothing had happened. But Abby could feel it. He was slipping. And the ground was moving under her feet. Chapter 43. Ashley's house was quiet when they arrived. Too quiet for a place that was supposed to be full of teenagers having fun. Abby followed slowly behind the others as they entered, her steps uncertain. Inside, the air felt stale, dim, off. 3 teens were already there, slouched around the living room. 2 boys Abby didn't recognize, their eyes half-lidded and movements too casual to feel safe. A girl sat with them, chewing gum and scrolling on her phone like she couldn't care less about anything happening around her. But what froze Abby the most was the woman on the couch. Ashley's mother. She was sitting there in silence, staring blankly at the television. Her hair was a mess. Her clothes hung off her like she hadn't noticed them in days. Her expression was empty, the kind of vacant Abby had never seen in real life, not until now. For a moment, Abby felt a wave of relief. At least there's an adult here. But then Ashley said, "Mom, go upstairs." Her mom blinked slowly, still not looking at any of them. "Go," Ashley repeated, firmer this time. And without a word, the woman stood, shuffled toward the stairs, and disappeared up them like a ghost. Abby's stomach turned. They moved into the living room and someone turned on the TV. Not to a movie, not to music, but to something pornographic. She didn't know what to expect. Abby sat frozen on the edge of the couch while the others laughed, made comments, and didn't seem fazed at all. Then it got worse. Without warning, things shifted from watching to doing. The boys, the girls, all of them started. They weren't joking anymore. They weren't just pushing limits for shock value. They were acting on what they'd seen. And now they were turning to Abby. Ashley gave her a look, one that said, "Don't back out. You're part of this now." Abby's heart pounded in her ears. Her breath came faster. She stammered. "I have to use the bathroom." Ashley rolled her eyes but waved her down the hall. "Don't take forever." Abby walked down the hallway on shaking legs. There'd a phone on the wall in the hall. The kind of thing that looked like it hadn't rung in years. She crept back out, picked it up, and prayed it still worked. When her dad's voice answered, she almost collapsed. "Dad," she whispered. "Please come get me. I'm at Ashley's house. Right now. Please." She didn't wait for him to ask questions. She hung up, grabbed her bag and bolted for the front door. No one stopped her. He didn't look back. She just ran down the driveway to the curb and stood there, arms wrapped around herself, shaking. The house behind her pulsed with music and shadows. But she didn't care. He just needed to be away. And she needed to see her dad's car coming down that street. No. Ethan's car pulled up to the curb just as Abby appeared from the shadows of the yard, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. She opened the passenger door and climbed in without a word, her face pale, her breathing uneven. "Hey," Ethan said gently, "you okay?" Abby shut the door, looked at him for only a second, and then the dam broke. She buried her face in her hands and began to cry. Not soft tears, but the kind that shook her shoulders, the kind that came from somewhere too deep to explain. They all turned on porn and started having sex with each other. Abby managed to say between sobs and heavy breathing. Ethan's hands clenched the steering wheel. He didn't say a word. He got out of the car. Abby looked up through blurred vision and watched her father march straight toward the house. He didn't hesitate. He pounded on the front door hard. It opened a few seconds later. Ashley stood there, her expression neutral, adjusting her shirt like she'd just tossed it on. "Can I help you?" she asked coolly. "I need to speak to your mother," Ethan said, his voice deadly calm. Ashley shrugged. "She's sleeping." From the shadows of the stairwell behind her, a slurred voice called out. "I'm not sleeping. What's going on?" Ashley turned her head, annoyed. "Mom, go back upstairs. It's nothing." But her mother stepped further into view, looking down at them with confusion clouding her eyes. Ethan didn't hesitate. "I'll tell you what's going on. Your daughter just hosted a get-together where porn was being played, where teenagers were having sex, and my daughter was in that room." Ashley's mother stared blankly for a moment, then looked at her daughter. Ashley scoffed. "He's exaggerating. It was just a joke. She's being dramatic." "Go upstairs," Ashley snapped again, and her mother, as if programmed, turned around and walked back into the shadows. Ethan stared at Ashley for a long moment. And then he said low and cold, "You stay away from my daughter. Do you understand me?" Ashley tilted her head and smiled. She came on her own. "I don't care," he said. "You're done." She just laughed and closed the door in his face. Back in the car, Abby sat curled against the window, still crying quietly. Ethan climbed in, shut the door, and gripped the steering wheel. "I'm disappointed, Abby," he said after a long pause, his voice rough with emotion. "You didn't listen. You promised us you'd stay at the mall." Abby nodded, ashamed, still unable to meet his eyes. But when Ethan looked at her again, really looked, he saw it. The fear, the guilt, the trauma. He pulled the car over on the side of the road. And then he turned to her, unbuckled his seatbelt, and wrapped his arms around her. Abby didn't hesitate. She leaned into him and cried harder than before, her father holding her like she was 5 years old again and had just scraped her knee, only this was so much deeper. After a while, when the storm of tears quieted, Ethan whispered, "I'm proud of you." She blinked. "What?" "I'm proud of you for calling me," he said. "You did the right thing. That took strength, Abby. Real strength." She nodded, still shaking. "I've got you," he said. "You're safe now." Chapter 44. They got home just after 8. The lights in the living room were still on, and Elisa was sitting on the couch, legs crossed, her laptop open in front of her. She looked up as soon as she heard the door open, her eyes going first to Ethan, then to Abby. And that was all it took. She stood immediately. What happened? Abby didn't speak at first. Her eyes were red, her face still blotchy. She dropped her bag by the door and slowly made her way to the couch. Elisa followed, already lowering her voice. "Abby, what happened?" Ethan stayed behind her, silent, letting Abby decide how much to share. Abby sat down slowly, picking at a loose thread on her sleeve. It wasn't just a hangout. Elisa knelt in front of her. "Tell me everything." So Abby did. She told her about Ashley's house. About the 3 other teens who were already there when she arrived, 2 boys and a girl. About the state of the house. About Ashley's mother, barely present, glassy-eyed, unable or unwilling to do anything. How Ashley told her to go upstairs and she just obeyed. She wasn't even there, Abby said. Like her body was, but her mind wasn't. Elisa's expression darkened. Then Abby told her about the videos, the explicit content, the pressure, the way the others had started to act things out in front of her. The panic. The bathroom. The old wall phone. and how she ran. Did you recognize any of them? Elisa asked. Abby nodded. Elisa picked up her laptop. Show me. They sat side by side as Elisa pulled up social media, starting with Ashley's profile, then her friends list. Abby pointed at a few names. Then she hesitated. That one, she said, tapping the screen. He was there. Detayer 1. Elisa clicked his profile. Her eyes narrowed as she scrolled. 19 years old. The rest, 15 at most. Elisa's jaw tensed, but her voice remained steady. Good, she said. That's all I needed. Ethan raised his head slightly. What are you going to do? Elisa closed the laptop and stood, calm but sharp. What I should have done sooner. She looked at Abby and gently brushed the hair from her face. You did everything right, okay? Everything. You stayed calm. You made the right call. I've got this now. And Abby, shaken, scared but no longer alone, nodded slowly. He believed her. Because when Elisa said she was going to handle it, he meant it. Chapter 45. Elisa sat alone in her room, the glow of her laptop lighting her face, sharp and focused. The house was quiet. Ethan was downstairs talking to Kelly. Abby had gone to shower, but Elisa hadn't moved. He didn't need to. She knew exactly what to do. Her old instincts, the ones she hadn't used since the hardest years of her life, clicked back into place like a switch being flipped. She found Toby's profile easily through one of Ashley's tagged photos. His page was open, arrogant, shirtless photos, flirty captions. A trail of immature comments from girls and guys alike. She added him. He accepted within 5 minutes. The message came first. Toby, you knew? Elisa, kinda. You were at Ashley's house last night, right? Toby, how ya that wild night all? Lisa, that stuff turns me on. Bet you're not scared of anything. The typing bubbles lit up immediately. Toby, not at all, that Ashley goes hard. Toby did not hesitate to get into details. His description of the night got more and more graphic. He said more than enough to incriminate himself. Lisa, who else was there? Toby, Ashley and some PPL from school. Don't remember names. Lisa, I like confident guys. Got a number? He gave it to her without hesitation. He texted right away. Elisa, bet you thought you had the house all to yourself. Toby, yeah, Ashley's mom's a zombie. Lisa, you're 19, right? Toby, yeah, why? Elisa, because Ashley's 15. So is everyone else who was there. Toby, wait, what? Elisa, want me to say that again slower? Toby, how do you know that? Elisa, because one of them is my sister. Toby. The dots blinked, then stopped. Then started again. Toby, bro. Toby, look, I didn't touch her. Elisa, but you bragged about what happened. Elisa, you watched it, you encouraged it. Toby, please don't tell anyone. Elisa, call me. No. The phone rang seconds later. Elisa answered. Her voice was calm, controlled. Toby, she said. Let me make something crystal clear. I'm not a cop, but I don't have to be. Silence. You think that little performance last night made you some kind of legend? She continued. You're a 19-year-old boy who got caught at a house having an orgy with underage girls and boys. That's not a hookup. That's a felony. I didn't. You bragged about it. I have the messages. Toby's voice cracked. Please. I didn't know. You knew, Elisa said. Or you didn't care. And now you're going to care a lot. Because if I hear that you so much as text one of those girls again, I'll make sure every cop in the city sees those screenshots. You can't. I can. And I will. The line was quiet. Elisa's voice dropped lower. Stay away from Ashley. Stay away from the others. And pray you never see me in person. She hung up without another word. And then she saved the chat log. She wasn't done. Not yet. Elisa leaned back in her chair, her arms folded, eyes still fixed on the screen. Her phone sat quietly beside her, the call long ended, the chat logs saved in a private folder. She smirked. Ashley thought she had control. Thought she was untouchable. Thought her charm could blind everyone around her. But she didn't know Elisa. Didn't know what it meant to survive by thinking 5 steps ahead. Didn't know what it meant to protect someone with everything you are. Didn't know that her game was already on the board. Elisa closed the laptop gently and stood. She didn't need to chase Ashley. Ashley was walking straight into her trap. By Tuesday afternoon, Ashley had begun to notice something was off. Her texts were going unanswered. Not from Abby. Abby was still shaky, quiet but reachable. It was Toby. Radio silence. No flirty messages. No crude jokes. No updates in the group chat. He wasn't responding to her. Or to any of the others from Saturday night. At first she thought he was just being his usual flaky self, full of ego and zero consistency. But by lunch the silence started to feel deliberate. She cornered one of the other girls in the bathroom between classes. "Have you heard from Toby?" she asked, casually reapplying lip gloss in the mirror. The girl looked confused. "Oh, he disappeared." Ashley gave a tight smile and walked away. It didn't take long to get her answer. By 7th period someone let it slip. Toby had been warned. Something about legal threats. Something about Elisa, Abby's dance teacher/sister. Ashley's eyes narrowed slightly. So that's what this is. She sat through the rest of class barely paying attention, her nails tapping lightly against her desk. Later that night she messaged Toby directly. "Ashley, why you ghosting me? Ashley, Elisa got in your head that bad? Ashley, she's not that clever. Don't let her scare you. Ashley, ignore us and you'll wish she was your biggest problem." She set the phone down, her smile slow and measured. So Elisa wanted a fight? Fine. Let her try to play smart. Ashley had been manipulating people since she was 12. She'd ruined reputations, flipped friendships, made boys cry and girls hate themselves, all without raising her voice. Elisa may have drawn first blood, but she hadn't won anything yet. This wasn't over. Not even close. This was war. And Toby? He was the rope. Chapter 46. Ashley sat on her bed, one knee pulled to her chest, phone in hand, when a new text lit up her screen. Unknown number. "It's me. Toby. I had to change numbers. Couldn't risk Elisa tracking me again." Her eyes widened slightly, then narrowed. She stared at the message for a few seconds before tapping a reply. "Ashley. Prove it's you." Her phone rang almost immediately. She answered. "Toby." A pause, then his voice, fast and quiet. "This is Toby. I can't talk on the phone. Just text me." The call ended. Her heart thudded once, but not from excitement. From control that he was still afraid. Good. The next message came in seconds later. "Toby. I'm out. For real this time. I'm not doing this anymore. I can't keep supplying you. It's too risky. Elisa's watching everything now. I'm not going on a registry for you. Not ever." Ashley's jaw tightened. "Ashley. You owe me. Toby. I owed you one time. Not forever. Toby. That night was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that with you. Ashley. You didn't ask. Ashley." And I could still tell that I kept the messages. There was a long pause before he replied. "Toby. You said it was a one-time thing. I gave you everything you asked for. I didn't know you were giving it to your mom. Toby. That's messed up, Ash." Ashley's lips curled slowly. "Ashley. It's not messed up. It keeps her quiet. It keeps her gone. Toby. No more. Don't contact me again." She stared at the screen, the silence mocking her. So that was it. Toby was done. She clenched her fist, trying not to let the panic show in her face, even though she was alone. But something else started to simmer. This wasn't just about the drugs. Or Abby. Or even Elisa anymore. This was about control. And Elisa had just stolen one of her pieces off the board. Ashley tossed her phone on the bed and sat very still. Her mind already racing. If she couldn't get to Toby anymore, she'd just have to find someone else. Chapter 47. The school halls felt different that morning. Abby walked with her head down, books pressed tightly to her chest. She tried to ignore the whispers, the stares, the shifting of eyes as she passed. But it was impossible to ignore when a boy leaned against the lockers and smirked as she walked by. "Hey Abby," he said loud enough for others to hear. "Is it true what you did? 6 people? That's insane." She stopped cold. "What?" she said, her voice cracking. He chuckled. "Ashley told everyone. Said it was the wildest night of your life." "I didn't." Abby's eyes darted, heart pounding. "That's not what happened." More students looked now. She backed away slowly, shaking her head. "It's not true. None of it's true." She turned and ran down the hall, slipping through the crowd, searching, needing to find Ashley. She found her leaning against the courtyard wall with her usual circle of loyal shadows. "Ashley." Abby shouted, breathless and shaking. Why are you saying that about me? You know what really happened. Ashley looked up slowly, her expression soft and sweet, but her voice laced with venom. Didn't you have fun that night, Abby? Abby stared at her, horrified. You know that's not true. Ashley and the others laughed. One girl snorted. I was there. Sounded like you liked it to me. Yeah, another added. Don't act all innocent now. Abby felt the world closing in. No, I didn't, I never. Her throat closed up and she turned again, bolting toward the nearest exit. She didn't stop running until the final bell. At home, the door slammed open. Ethan and Kelly rushed from the kitchen. Abby stood in the entryway, crying, barely able to breathe. She's telling everyone that I did those things. That I wanted it. Ethan stepped forward, pulling her into a hug. Kelly followed, arms wrapping around both of them. I didn't, Abby sobbed. I didn't do anything. We know, sweetheart, Kelly whispered, kissing her temple. We believe you. Always, Ethan added, his voice choked with emotion. Elisa came from the hallway, saw the scene and froze. Her eyes locked with Ethan's and she understood instantly. She stepped forward and gently placed her hand on Abby's back. Come on, Abs. Let's go clear your head. Abby wiped her eyes. Where? Anywhere, Elisa said softly. Just. Not here. 10 minutes later they were on the road. Elisa's car hummed beneath them as the radio played something low and wordless. Abby stared out the window, cheeks still damp, her chest aching. Elisa didn't speak. She just let the silence settle, calm and safe. When Abby finally spoke, her voice was a whisper. She wants to ruin me. She won't, Elisa replied. Not while I'm breathing. They drove on. The storm wasn't over. But Abby wasn't alone in it anymore. And that made all the difference. Chapter 48. The road stretched ahead in a blur of warm afternoon light, the trees flickering past as Elisa's car cruised along the quiet backroads just outside of town. Abby sat in the passenger seat, curled against the door, her face still a little puffy from crying but calmer now. She stared out the window, lost in thought. Elisa reached over and gently tapped her on the arm. You remember your 4th birthday party? She asked, glancing at her with a half smile. Abby raised an eyebrow. Barely. Well, Elisa chuckled, Dad showed me the video again a few nights ago. You were wearing this sparkly purple dress and had frosting all over your face. You lost it because you couldn't blow out the birthday boy's candles. Abby turned bright red, burying her face in her hands. Stop. Elisa giggled. What? It was iconic. Abby peeked out from her hands, a sheepish grin forming. I was 4. Exactly, Elisa said, smiling as she turned down a side road. 4-year-olds do all kinds of crazy stuff. It's called learning. She slowed the car and pulled over near a quiet park. The sun was beginning to dip low, casting long shadows across the grass. Elisa shifted into park and turned to face her. Her smile faded into something softer. Warmer. She reached over and gently tucked a loose strand of hair behind Abby's ear. Hey, she said softly. Look at me. Abby turned her head, eyes still glistening. This, Elisa said, is going to pass. I promise you. Abby blinked. But it feels like... I know it does. Elisa nodded. But this won't last forever. Ashley's not going to get away with this. Not much longer. I'm going to make sure of it. Abby didn't answer. She just stared at her sister's face, searching for something solid to hold on to. And she found it. Elisa meant every word. You're not alone in this, Elisa added. Not now. Not ever. Abby leaned across the seat and wrapped her arms around her. And Elisa held her tightly. No more running. No more silence. Just love. And the storm slowly beginning to break. Chapter 49. The world was black. Not nighttime black, but thick, consuming, endless. Abby stood in a dream or something close to it. Her body felt weightless, but her chest was tight. She couldn't see walls, only shadows folding in on shadows. And in the center of it all, Ashley. She stood alone in a dim circle of light, wearing that signature smile, the one that always danced between charm and menace. Her arms were relaxed, her head tilted. Her eyes sparkled with sick amusement. There was confidence in her posture, power. She radiated control, like she knew the game and owned all the pieces. Around her, invisible whispers echoed. Laughter, applause, whimpers. He basked in it. Until the light flickered. Then dimmed. And something moved in the dark behind her. A hand, long, black, skeletal with sharp talon-like claws, slowly crept around her face, gliding over her skin like it was tracing the outline of her soul. Ashley's smile faltered. Her head twitched, then turned. He saw it. And her eyes widened in horror. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no, get away from me." The hand gripped her jaw. Her scream echoed into the void. Then her mouth was forced open, too wide, too unnatural, and the black hand shoved its way down her throat. Ashley's body convulsed, fighting, thrashing, but it was no use. Her eyes rolled back, turning solid, soulless black. Then she stopped moving. Her body stood stiff and still. Her sanity gone. And from the shadows behind her stepped the figure. The owner of the hand. Clad in black, her presence calm and terrifyingly sure, her eyes glowing faintly with something not of this world. Something ancient, protective, unstoppable. She stepped forward until she stood inches behind Ashley, who now resembled a lifeless puppet. Elisa placed a hand on her shoulder. "I'm not going to let anyone touch you, little sister," she whispered. And Ashley's head slowly cracked downward like her strings had snapped. Abby jolted upright in bed, heart pounding, breath ragged. Sweat clung to her skin. Her hands trembled as she looked around her dark room, chest heaving. It was just a dream. But it didn't feel like one. Felt like a warning. Felt like a promise. Chapter 50. Morning sunlight filtered softly through the kitchen blinds. The house was quiet aside from the muffled sounds of breakfast being made and the occasional clink of a dish in the sink. Elisa was in the hallway, slipping on her studio jacket and adjusting her hair into a quick braid. She was almost out the door when she heard footsteps behind her. "Hey," Ethan said gently. She turned, pausing. "Hey, Dad." He gave her a half smile, tired, thoughtful. "You got a minute?" She nodded. He stepped closer, voice low. "Abby told me about a dream she had last night. Said it really shook her up." Elisa's brow furrowed. "What kind of dream?" "She said you were in it, but not like yourself. You were dark, powerful. There was something terrifying going on with Ashley. Something about a hand." Elisa raised an eyebrow and chuckled lightly. "That's weird." Ethan gave her a look. The kind of look only a father could give, calm, steady, not accusing, but knowing. "Elisa." "What?" she said with a slight smirk, trying to brush it off. "You think I planted a nightmare in her head?" "No. I think she sees you as her protector," he said. "Someone strong enough to scare the monsters away. Or become one if she had to." Elisa didn't respond. He tilted his head slightly. "Would you?" She looked down, adjusting the sleeve of her jacket. "Would you ever do anything violent?" he asked quietly. Elisa hesitated. "No." But Ethan's silence was louder than any question. She added quickly, "I mean, no, I wouldn't plan to. I don't go around hurting people." "But if someone did hurt Abby?" he asked. "If they crossed that line?" Her lips parted like she wanted to answer. But the words didn't come. Instead, she looked away, her eyes beginning to glisten. Ethan softened his tone. "Elisa." "I should have been there for her," she whispered. "All those years. I wasn't. She needed someone and I wasn't there." Ethan stepped closer. "She's just a little girl," Elisa said, her voice cracking. "And she needed me. And I was just gone." She tried to wipe her eyes but couldn't stop the tears. They spilled freely now, raw and bitter. "I hate her," she choked out. "I hate Mom. I hate her for what she did. For throwing me away. For taking everything. I wish she had died before she had the chance to destroy us." Ethan didn't interrupt. He didn't tell her to stop. He didn't correct her. He simply pulled her into his arms and held her tight, his hand gently resting on the back of her head. "You're here now," he whispered. "That's what matters. And you are not to blame for what happened. She is. Not you." Elisa buried her face against his chest, her shoulders trembling as the weight of it all, the guilt, the grief, the rage, poured out in silence. Ethan said nothing more. He just let her cry. Chapter 51. Abby was sitting on the floor of her room, books open but untouched. Her phone buzzed once. Then again. Then again. He checked the screen. Group chat, Saturday Night Legends. Her heart sank before she even opened it. The first message glowed on the screen. Derek, she didn't just go all the way, she went all different ways. Oh. Then another. Jenna. Pretty sure she begged for it. Marco, wish I was there. Tasha. Didn't she cry? Guess that's what gets her going. Dozens of messages, one after the other. Each one more disgusting. More humiliating. More vicious. Abby stared at the screen, her vision swimming. Her breath came in short, shallow gasps. Each word was a dagger. Tears began to fall, not slowly but all at once, like a flood finally breaking through the dam she'd held up for too long. She closed the app and dropped the phone on the floor, curling into herself, trembling. Across town, Ashley was behind the wheel of her mom's old car. No license.no supervision.no care in the world. Music blasted from the stereo as she swerved lazily between lanes, her lips curled into a satisfied smile. She had created the group chat just for this. She had spread the lies herself, worded every post to sound like truth, recruited others to back her up, and watched it all detonate like a perfectly set fire. Abby was broken and Ashley was drunk on the power of it. Then her phone buzzed again. Another message. From someone not in the chat. A profile she didn't recognize. No display picture.no name, just a single message. She opened it and stopped breathing. It was a screenshot. Her chat with Toby. Her exact words. The ones where she told him to keep supplying the pills for her mom. The ones where she admitted that she was keeping her mother in a drugged-out stupor so she could party, manipulate, and hide. The screen said everything. Ashley, she's so spaced out she doesn't even know I'm stealing her meds. Just keep giving me more and I won't say a word about what you did. Ashley, you want freedom. I want silence. Let's keep this mutual. Ashley slammed on the brakes, tires screeching as the car jerked to a stop in the middle of the road. No, she whispered. No, no, no. Her hand trembled as she stared at the screen. Another message appeared. No. It's almost over. Ashley's chest tightened. She threw the phone into the passenger seat and gripped the steering wheel, trying to breathe, trying to think. It's fine, she muttered. They won't do anything. They don't know anything. But the voice in her head, the one she never let anyone hear, whispered otherwise. You're not in control anymore. And for the first time, Ashley felt afraid. Chapter 52. Ashley stormed into her house, slamming the door behind her. Her mother was asleep upstairs, not that she noticed or cared. Her fingers itched as she grabbed her phone off the couch and opened her favorite app. The first post on her timeline stopped her cold. Toby Peterson arrested. Local police had taken him in late that afternoon. His mugshot already making the rounds. The article headline read, 19-year-old arrested for multiple counts of lewd conduct with minors at unsupervised house gathering. Ashley stared, mouth slowly falling open. 5 counts. All underage. All from her house. Her thumb shook as she scrolled down. Hundreds of comments. People were furious. Outraged. Curious. As she kept reading, her phone buzzed. Another message. This time from a new anonymous profile, no name, no photo. Known. Everyone knows something about you. The fun part is, they'll have to figure out what. People are going to be watching you more closely now. Ashley's chest tightened. What the? She muttered, her voice barely audible. He threw the phone across the room. It hit the floor and skidded under the coffee table with a thud. Her fingers dug into her scalp, tugging at her hair as she let out a loud, furious grunt. This isn't how it's supposed to go. She began pacing, heart pounding, rage swirling beneath her skin like fire. He was the one in control. He always had been. But now Toby was behind bars. The group chat was crumbling. Her phone was haunted by strangers. And someone somewhere was watching her. Waiting. He didn't know who. But they knew everything. Chapter 53. The knock at the door was hard. Heavy, official. Ashley peeked through the living room window and froze. 2 uniformed officers stood outside. Her stomach dropped. She quickly rubbed her face, tossed a blanket over the mess in the living room, and opened the door with her most innocent expression. Can I help you? She asked, voice soft, eyes wide. Miss Ashley Monroe? One of the officers asked. Yes. We have a few questions about a recent investigation involving Toby Peterson. Ashley's breath hitched, but she stepped aside, letting them in with practiced hesitation. I didn't know he was in trouble, she said, already building the character. I mean, he was always so nice to me. The officers glanced at each other. You were present the night of the gathering at your residence? One of them asked. Ashley nodded, her eyes filling with tears on cue. Yes, but I didn't know it would turn into that. I was scared. I didn't want any of it to happen. I told him I didn't want to do those things, but he said he'd love me if I did. She wiped her eyes and sniffled, looking down at the floor. He told me not to say anything. I was afraid. I just wanted someone to care about me. The room fell quiet. The officers, uncomfortable but not unconvinced, jotted down notes and thanked her for her time. They said they'd be in touch. As the door clicked shut behind them, the tears vanished. Her face hardened. She turned and paced, thinking fast. Then it hit her, a flash of memory from one of her conversations with Toby. The language. The way he panicked. She said she has screenshots. She knows everything. It was Elisa. Ashley's eyes narrowed, her hands curling into fists. She had underestimated her not just as a dancer or a sister but as a threat. She wanted to scream, but instead she breathed through her nose and stared at the closed door. There was nothing she could do now. Not without making things worse. Not without slipping up. But deep down, she was burning. And this war was far from over. Chapter 54. The music pounded through the walls of the studio. Dark. Slowed at a heavy, crawling rhythm of distorted guitars and heavy drums, like a storm trudging across the earth. Elisa moved with it. Her limbs extended in elegant sweeps, twisting into violent, balletic spins. Each motion was deliberate, a fusion of ballet's grace, kung fu's precision, and something else entirely. Something she had invented. A style all her own. She flipped into a roll, bent backwards like her spine was liquid, twisted into a crouch and sprang back up in one flawless sweep. The studio lights flickered across her sweat-glossed skin, illuminating the fire in her eyes, the kind of fire that doesn't consume but forges. He was not dancing. He was venting. Meanwhile, at school, Abby sat in class. Eyes forward, mind fractured. People were still staring, still whispering, still watching. Every time a paper rustled, every time someone laughed under their breath, it felt like another knife in her spine. He tried to breathe, tried to focus on the notes in front of her. But the weight of it all was suffocating. Across campus, Ashley was unraveling. She scanned the halls, her eyes twitching from face to face. No one looked different. No one said anything. But she felt it. He saw them. Looking too long. Whispering too quietly. She caught her friend Jenna by the arm. Hey, is there something you heard about me? Jenna blinked. What the? Why would? Nothing. Nothing at all. Ashley snapped, eyes darting. Jenna leaned back. You're being weird. Ashley forced a laugh. Just checking. She turned away, biting the inside of her cheek. No one said anything. But they knew. They all knew something. Back in the studio. Elisa moved faster now, her body coiling like a spring before exploding into aerials. A twist, a full rotation, a slide into a sideways split, and a back kick spin that sliced the air. Her face stayed focused, stoic. But her muscles screamed. Her bones sang. The pain and rage left her body with each movement. She'd found something beyond dance. She'd found weaponized beauty. Ashley sat in class now, twitching her foot. Abby was across the room, trying not to exist. Ashley tried to look composed, but her fingers trembled. Her knee bounced. She leaned toward another classmate. Hey, you ever hear anything about me? She whispered. He frowned. Are you okay? Ashley smiled too fast. I'm fine. The music inside Elisa's studio hit a crescendo. She raced toward the center mat, planted her foot, and launched herself into the air. One backflip. Then another. Then a third. She twisted in midair and landed low, her fingers splayed, one knee down, crouched like a spider ready to strike. He stayed there, breathing. So, then slowly she lifted her head. And smiled. Because she knew. She was winning. And Ashley? He was just beginning to feel it. Chapter 55. Days passed. And to Abby's surprise, the stairs began to fade. The whispers grew quiet. The hallway, once lined with judgment, felt normal again, as normal as high school ever could. Classmates stopped snickering. A few even smiled. The silence was cautious, but it wasn't cruel anymore. Then one afternoon outside the cafeteria, two familiar voices called her name. Kendra and Layla. They stood nervously beside a bench, eyes filled with guilt. Hey, Kendra started. Can we talk? Abby hesitated, then nodded slowly. We're so sorry, Layla blurted. We were stupid. And scared. And instead of being there for you, we made it worse. You didn't deserve that, Kendra added. None of it. Abby looked at both of them. The pain was still there, but not raw. Not bleeding. She gave a slow, guarded nod. I forgive you. But I need time. Okay. Yeah, they both said at once. They meant it. And for the first time in weeks, Abby felt something warm begin to stitch itself inside her chest. Ashley, meanwhile, was living in a cage of glass. Everyone still treated her like normal. No rumors.no name-calling.no accusations. But it felt like they were all watching. Waiting. She kept checking behind her in the halls. Paranoia curled tighter around her spine every time her phone buzzed. She couldn't relax. She couldn't breathe. And then it buzzed again. Unknown profile. The school cops have been tipped off. They know about your mom. Ashley's fingers trembled. Ashley. I know it's you, Elisa. You think I'm stupid? Pause. Then. Unknown profile. I could be a detective. Ashley narrowed her eyes. He thought she had it. He thought she had the trap. Ashley. He just admitted it. Impersonating an officer is a crime. Now you'll go to jail. The reply came instantly. Unknown profile. I never said I was one. I just said I could be. Big difference. Ashley stared. Her hand tightened around the phone. Her breath caught in her throat. And then, without thinking, she slammed the phone into her forehead with a choked sob. Real tears spilled down her face. She didn't know who was behind the messages anymore. But the noose was tightening. And the worst part? She couldn't tell where the next blow would come from. Chapter 56. The studio was calm that afternoon. Soft music played low from the speakers as sunlight poured through the wide windows, warming the polished floor. For once, the world outside didn't feel like it was caving in. Elisa stood near her office door, 3 large boxes stacked almost to her shoulders. A new shipment of dance gear had finally arrived. Leotards, wraps, shoes, water bottles, and branded hoodies she'd ordered weeks ago. Okay, she muttered, slipping between the boxes and the edge of her desk. Just gonna squeeze through here. Thud. Both corners, one from the box, one from the desk, jabbed into her lower front and back at the exact same time. She let out a groan that was part pain, part comedy. At least buy me coffee if you want to go that far, she muttered under her breath. Abby was sitting on the floor organizing ankle weights, but at that line she burst out laughing so hard she nearly fell over. Elisa, she gasped, choking between giggles. Elisa winced and laughed along, rubbing her side. I'm just saying, that desk didn't even flirt first. They both cracked up, the sound echoing off the high ceilings of the studio like a shared secret only they were allowed to enjoy. Once the laughter faded, Elisa exhaled and leaned against the boxes. Man, I needed that. Same, Abby said, still smiling. They sat there for a moment. Elisa turned toward her. So, how are you holding up? Really? Abby paused. Then shrugged. It's been better. But it's been worse too. Elisa raised an eyebrow. Abby sighed. People are starting to treat me normally again. Kendra and Layla apologized. I forgave them, but I'm still careful. That's smart, Elisa nodded. Abby hesitated, then added, Ashley's been weird though. Elisa tilted her head. Weird how? She's not saying anything, but she looks tense, like she's waiting for something bad to happen. Elisa didn't respond at first. Just leaned back against the desk, her face unreadable. Abby studied her carefully. Do you know anything? Elisa smiled softly. Let's just say, she's not the only one with a few tricks. Abby smirked. You're scary when you talk like that. Elisa reached over and gently messed up her hair. Good. I'm supposed to be. The last light in the studio flickered off as Elisa zipped up her hoodie and locked the storage closet. The mirrors reflected only shadows now. Silence lingered, thick and still. She moved toward the front, keys in hand, when the door opened with a soft chime. She turned, surprised. Finn. He stepped in slowly, his expression calm but serious. Hey, Elisa said, forcing a smile. You okay? He didn't return the smile. Elisa's posture shifted slightly. Her fingers tightened around the keys. What is it? Ethan stood still, hands in his jacket pockets. I know you're looking out for Abby. I know your heart is in the right place. She nodded cautiously. But whatever you're doing, he continued, it needs to stop. Her smile vanished. I don't know what you mean. Yes, you do. His voice was quiet but firm. You're not a monster, Lisa. You were never meant to be one. Her jaw tensed. She hurt people, Dad, Elisa said, her voice rising. She hurt Abby. And others. And if there's even the smallest chance I can make that right, I'm going to take it. Ethan took a breath. You already are making it right. By being here. By loving Abby. By showing up. You don't have to go further down this path. I have to, Elisa said, her voice shaking. I missed yours. Yours I'll never get back. I have to catch up somehow. You don't have to catch up like this, Ethan said, stepping closer. This girl. She's unraveling. She's her own worst enemy now. You don't have to push. She's doing it to herself. Elisa looked away, eyes glistening. Ethan stepped forward again, stronger this time. I'm your father. I'm telling you, you're not going to continue this. Elisa blinked. You've done enough, he said more softly now. Let it end. She stared at him for a long moment. Her heart pounding, her mind racing. Then quietly she said, You've been the father I always needed this past year. And you're my real father on top of it. Ethan's voice caught in his throat, but he kept his stance. Then trust me. And come home. The silence hung like a final chord. Elisa didn't respond. She just slowly nodded. And followed him out the door. They walked to their cars in silence. Just the sound of 2 engines starting up. And the war Elisa was walking away from for now. Chapter 57. The message came in just past midnight, its tone smug like a snake with lipstick. Ashley, I know it's you. Elisa didn't hesitate. Elisa, pause. Ashley, you think you're clever. You think this is some genius scheme? Elisa, never said I was a genius. Ashley, you're not as unpredictable as you think. I've known for a while now, and I'm giving you a chance. Elisa, to what? Ashley, meet me. Tonight, 12 a.m. school cafeteria. You want closure, you'll get it. Elisa, fine. 12 a.m. The cafeteria was dead quiet. Moonlight spilled in through the high windows, casting long shadows across the scratched tile floor. The vending machines hummed faintly in the corner, and the air smelled faintly of mop water and old food. Elisa stepped inside, her black hoodie zipped up, hair tied back. She looked around. No one. Just the long rows of tables, silent, dark, empty. Then, a door creaked open behind her. Footsteps. Ashley emerged from the darkness, her face partially hidden beneath a denim jacket and a false smile. Her eyes were cold. You came, she said. Of course I did, Elisa replied. Ashley stepped further into the room, circling slightly, keeping her distance. You really think you've won, don't you? Ashley asked. I think this needs to end, Elisa said calmly. Ashley laughed. It's ending, but not how you think. They stood across from one another, the silence between them screaming. Elisa waited. Ashley tilted her head. Toby, the night at my house. My mom. You've been playing detective, haven't you? You admitted it, Elisa said. All of it. Poisoning your own mother just to avoid supervision. Lying about Abby. Framing her for something disgusting just so you could feel powerful. Ashley didn't flinch. Yeah, I did all of that. Elisa's eyes narrowed. Then you're done. Ashley smiled again, this time cruel. Who's going to believe you? She asked softly. After everything? Elisa tensed. Ashley stepped forward, her voice dropping to a venomous whisper. Danielle. Foster kid. Liar. 3 foster homes kicked you out before you came crawling back to your father. Elisa's fists clenched. I know what you watched, Ashley continued. Same kind of content my friends and I watched that night. I know about it all. She leaned in, her breath cold and sharp. You're not a savior. You're broken. And no one will ever believe you. Elisa didn't flinch. Her voice was low, even. I have screenshots of everything you said. Every threat. Every confession. What's there not to believe? Ashley's expression twisted, but only for a second. Then coolly she said, that you hit a minor. Elisa blinked. And before she could process it, Ashley balled her fist and slugged herself in the face. A sickening thud echoed through the empty cafeteria. Her head snapped sideways, her cheek already blooming red. "Delete the messages," Ashley hissed through clenched teeth, her voice trembling. "And none of this ever goes to the police." Elisa took a slow step forward, stunned but still composed. "After all I've been through," she said softly. "If I were a violent person, I'd do a lot more than that. But I'm not." Her eyes darkened. "So don't try that again." Ashley's lip curled, then she punched herself again. "Harder." "Stop." Elisa snapped, her voice rising now. "Ashley, stop it." But she didn't. Again. And again. Until a tooth flew from her mouth and clattered across the floor. Elisa rushed toward her, but before she could get close, Ashley screamed and ran headfirst into one of the brick support pillars. Frick. The impact sent her crumpling to the ground, blood running from her nose, one eye swelling shut, a patch of hair torn from her scalp from her own grasp. Elisa stared horrified. Ashley looked up, bloodied and panting. Then slowly a grin stretched across her face. A sick manic grin. "You really did all of this?" Elisa muttered, stepping back in disbelief. "Just to make me look bad?" Ashley let out a low laugh. Then a louder one, then louder still, until her body shook with it. "Your career is over," she shrieked. "Abby will need a new dance teacher. One who's not a psycho. She'll lose her sister again. The cameras at the front door saw us both walk in. You were here. That's all they'll need." Elisa tilted her head almost, pitying her. "And these cameras," she said quietly, motioning to the ceiling. "They saw you beating yourself into a bloody pulp." Ashley's laughter slowed. "They'll see you," Elisa continued, "for what you really are. Not just a self-destructive psychopath, but a habitual liar." And then, from the shadows behind the pillar, a figure stepped into the light. Ethan, holding a camera. Ashley's laughter broke into a scream. A sharp, raw, desperate scream that bounced off the tile and metal and glass, but there was no one left to save her. Only truth. And evidence. And the end. Outside the school, red and blue lights pulsed across the pavement. A crowd had gathered behind the taped-off perimeter, whispering, recording, stunned by the sight unfolding before them. Ashley, bruised, bloodied, and handcuffed, was screaming as officers guided her toward the cruiser. "This is all fake," she shrieked. "It's fabricated. The messages are photoshopped. The video's AI generated. None of it's real." She tried to thrash, but the officers held her firm, unfazed by her outburst. One of them turned to Ethan and Elisa, who stood nearby, calmly watching the scene unfold. "She's being charged with multiple counts of malicious defamation, child endangerment and obstruction," the officer said. Her false accusations alone could carry serious weight. Add the documented messages and footage? She could be looking at prison time until she's 30. Elisa nodded quietly. "Thank you," Ethan said, shaking the officer's hand. With that, the squad car doors closed, muffling Ashley's final wails. The lights swept across the street and the vehicle pulled away, carrying the storm with it. The night was quiet again. Ethan and Elisa stood beneath the dim glow of the school parking lot lamps, the silence between them filled with something different now. Not tension. Not fear. But peace. "I meant what I said," Ethan finally said, looking at her. "I wasn't going to let you walk into that cafeteria alone. I told you to let it go, but I had a feeling you weren't going to, so I had to be there." Elisa smiled, her shoulders softening. "I'm glad you were. I couldn't have done this without you." Ethan put a hand on her shoulder. "You didn't just protect Abby. You saved her. And you saved yourself." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Elisa whispered, "Let's go home." And together they walked away from the school, leaving the broken pieces behind them, side by side beneath the quiet stars. Chapter 58. The hospital room was quiet, sterile, but warm with morning light filtering through the window blinds. The beeping of monitors and the steady hum of machines filled the silence, a background rhythm to the fragile breaths of the woman in the bed. Elisa stepped in slowly, clutching a bouquet of small white flowers. She didn't know what to expect, or how to even begin. Ashley's mother, once vacant and subdued, was propped up on her bed with a nurse adjusting her foredrip. Her skin was pale and her eyes tired, but they were clear. More present than they had been in a while. When she saw Elisa, she blinked. And then smiled softly. "You're her, aren't you?" she whispered. "The dance teacher. Abby's sister." Elisa's throat tightened, she nodded, stepping closer. "Your sister performed so well that night. I was there. I know you, the woman said again, her voice trembling with gratitude. You saved me. Elisa's eyes welled immediately. Her hands shook and her mouth opened, but no words came out. She lowered her head, overcome. I'm sorry, Elisa finally said through tears. I'm so sorry for everything Ashley did to you. For what she made you into. For what she... Ashley's mother slowly raised a trembling hand and reached for hers. No, she whispered. That wasn't you. That wasn't your doing. You didn't fail her. I did. And I'm the one who should be sorry. Elisa shook her head, crying harder now. You saved me, the woman repeated. I've been lost. I didn't even realize how far gone I was. Until it all stopped. There was a quiet knock at the door. Abby stepped inside holding a small gift bag. Her voice was soft, cautious. Hi. Ashley's mom looked over and her face changed instantly. A warmth spread through her eyes. You're the girl, she whispered. You're the one who ran. The one who got away. Abby looked down, shy but proud. I didn't know what else to do. You were brave, Ashley's mom said. So much braver than anyone should ever have to be. You did the right thing even when the adults didn't. Abby stepped closer. Thank you. She handed her the bag. Inside were peppermint lotion, a pair of soft socks, and a handmade card with a doodle of a flower smiling at the sun. The woman took it with shaking hands, her eyes glassy again. I don't know what kind of people you're going to grow into, she said, but I hope you never stop being exactly who you are right now. Abby smiled softly, then looked at Elisa, whose hand was still clasped tightly around hers. And in that room, and there was peace. And that was more than enough for now. Chapter 59. The walls of the prison home were gray, sterile, and humming with quiet tension. Ethan sat across from Miranda at a metal table bolted to the floor, the chair beneath him cold and uncomfortable, but his posture was calm. Steady. Miranda looked almost exactly the same, perfectly groomed, makeup slightly faded from age but applied with practiced precision. The same smug tilt to her chin. The same overly bright smile. She looked genuinely excited to see him. I've been thinking about them constantly, she said, smoothing the sleeves of her beige jumper. How's Abby? She must be getting so big. Ethan nodded slowly, arms crossed. She's doing great, he said. Well on her way to being a superstar. She won her last dance competition by a landslide. She's really popular at school. Tons of friends. Self-disciplined. Kind. Miranda's smile grew, clearly pleased with herself, as if she deserved some kind of credit. There was a silence after that. A quiet, pointed one. She didn't say her name. He never did. But Ethan waited. And after a few long seconds, Miranda gave in. And... Elisa. Ethan looked her dead in the eyes. Elisa is doing amazing. Miranda's lips twitched, uneasy. She owns her own dance studio now. 5-star rated. Students lining up to learn from her. He leaned forward just slightly. And this wasn't because of me. I didn't push her to do it. Just like I didn't push Abby. Elisa did it on her own. With no help. No parents. No safety net. Just raw strength. Miranda shifted in her seat. Ethan continued. And the best part? Elisa's the one who got Abby to where she's at. Abby wouldn't be where she is today without her big sister showing her how to fight. How to stay true. How to stand up for herself. There was nothing smug in his voice. Just pride. And pain. Miranda's smile faltered, her eyes flicked to the floor, then back up. I get out in a couple of years, she said quietly. Maybe I could see them. Ethan stood slowly, grabbing his coat. He gave her a long look. I'll let them decide, he said. He started to turn. But then she spoke again, voice soft and distant. It seems like you raced them well. Ethan paused. He didn't smile, but he didn't turn back. He simply said, I didn't raise Elisa. I couldn't even find her. His voice was steady, unapologetic. Not until now. And with that he walked out, never once looking back, leaving Miranda to sit alone, surrounded by her choices and drowning in regret. Chapter 60 Flashback. The brush slashed across the wall, leaving a wide stripe of lilac paint. Miranda hummed under her breath, a little off-key, swirling the brush like she was conducting a symphony. 2-year-old Abby skipped around, clapping her hands, already dreaming of her dance studio. But Ethan stood frozen in the doorway, fists clenched so hard his knuckles went white. The soft pink room, Elisa's room, was disappearing right in front of him. Erased. As if she had never existed at all. And Ethan snapped. "Stop." Miranda turned, laughing lightly. "Relax, Ethan. It's just paint. We need to move on. Abby needs the space." "I said stop," he growled, stepping inside. The room went still. Abby shrank back, sensing the shift in the air. Ethan pointed to the walls. To the bed. The scattered little toys still waiting for a girl who hadn't come home. "This isn't just a room," he said, his voice cracking. "This is Elisa's home. And she's coming back." Miranda rolled her eyes. "Him, please. It's been days. The police have no leads. You're torturing yourself." He took another step forward, rage burning behind his eyes. "You think she ran off?" he snapped. "She's 6 years old. She had a family who loved her. She had no reason to leave." Miranda's face tightened, but she stayed silent. "You came back that day without her," Ethan said. "You said you looked everywhere. You said you cried for hours." He stared at her, breathing hard. "But your eyes weren't even red." Miranda flinched. "And now," Ethan said, voice low and deadly, "you're painting over her life like she was a mistake." Miranda opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Ethan stormed from the room. He grabbed the phone. And he called the police. 2 days later, detectives gathered in the Strickland living room, flipping through Miranda's statement, the search reports, the security camera footage. No gas stations on the route showed her car. No businesses. No witnesses. No sign of Elisa walking away on her own. But then, one of the search teams combing the woods near the old highway found something. A tiny sodden button. Pink with a little white flower in the center. Still clinging to a scrap of blue fabric, Elisa's favorite dress. The detectives pieced it together. The remote location, the severe rain that night, the exposure to cold temperatures. If no one had found Elisa, she would have died. Alone. It wasn't a disappearance. It was abandonment. And it was attempted murder. The arrest. Miranda was in the kitchen, sipping coffee like it was just another morning when the police knocked. She answered the door with a bright, rehearsed smile. The officers didn't smile back. "Miranda Strickland," one said firmly, pulling out handcuffs, "you are under arrest for felony child abandonment, attempted homicide, and obstruction of justice." The coffee cup slipped from her hand, shattering on the floor. "No, no, no, this is a mistake," she cried, backing away. "I looked for her. I loved her." The officers grabbed her arms and started cuffing her. Miranda thrashed, tears streaming down her face. "Please. You don't understand. She was ruining everything. She was ruining Abby's future. She was too difficult, too loud, too messy." She sobbed harder, hysterical, thrashing like a child throwing a tantrum. "Please. I'm her mother. I'm her mother." Abby peeked from around the corner, clutching her father's leg. Ethan just stood there, silent, staring at Miranda with disgust and grief, until they hauled her away, screaming and crying the same desperate words that Elisa had cried the day she was left to die. But no one was listening now. No one was coming back for her. And no one believed the tears of a woman who abandoned her own child like trash on the side of the road. Later that night, Ethan stood in the doorway of Elisa's untouched room. The pink walls still there. The small bed. The worn teddy bear on the nightstand. He placed a hand on the doorframe, bowing his head. "I'm still here, baby girl," he whispered. "I'll always be here." The house was quiet. But for the first time in days, Ethan didn't feel helpless. Justice had begun. And one day, somehow, he would find her. He had to. After Miranda left her to rot in the rain, the nightmare never ended. The woman who had first found her, the chain-smoking stranger, one day was caught and arrested, and Elisa was placed into foster care where unimaginable things happened to her. Sexual abuse, physical abuse, and a violent combination of the two. This went on for 2 years in that same house until she was rescued at the age of 10, where she was naked, bruised, bleeding, and barely conscious. Only to be placed into over a dozen different homes. All the while she's been trying to get them to take her home or at least contact her parents, but they just ignored her. Elisa bounced from house to house. Some homes were monsters in disguise, places where she was screamed at, locked in closets, slapped for crying too loud, punished for nightmares she couldn't control. Other homes were quiet, decent families, but even there, Elisa could feel it. The slow, exhausted frustration behind their fake smiles when she threw silent tantrums, when she couldn't sit still, when she woke up screaming in the night. They said she was difficult. They said she was damaged. They said they had tried their best. And one by one, they gave her back. At 7 years old, Elisa had already learned 3 things. 1. Crying got you nowhere. 2. Trusting got you hurt. 3. Love was something you earned by being useful, or you didn't get it at all. She learned to lie sweetly to social workers. She learned to fake smiles when she wanted to scream. She learned to read people like chessboards, planning 3 moves ahead, twisting every conversation to survive. Age 15. By now, Elisa no longer flinched at being removed from homes. The social workers gave up whispering about her file. They didn't bother pretending anymore. 3 placements had ended the same way. 3 desperate families had packed her things in silence, relief washing over them when the caseworker finally came. And Elisa had stopped caring. No more pretending. No more smiling. No more feeling. She was pure survival now. Calculated. Merciless. The world had shown her what it was. A game where only the ruthless survived. And Elisa had learned the rules better than anyone. She kept a mental list of everyone who had ever hurt her. And one by one she began to cross names off. Not with knives. Not with fists. Not even with fingerprints. But with strategy. Target their weaknesses. Exploit their pride. Let them destroy themselves. Starting with the women who molested her. It wasn't hard to find them. Social media made sure of that. The one with the blue buzz cut, now faded green, messy and greasy, was an alcoholic, bragging on Instagram about her wild parties, her sloppy bar nights. Perfect. Elisa waited until one of the posts revealed her location. A grimy dive bar on the edge of town. She showed up wearing an old hoodie and jeans, blending into the background like a ghost. The woman didn't even recognize her. Not at first. Elisa walked up to her at the bar, ordered a soda and sat casually beside her. Bet you can't outdrink me, Elisa teased, flashing a wicked little smirk. The woman, drunk already, laughed and slammed her glass on the table. Oh sweetheart, you're so on. Round after round. Elisa sipped her soda and pretended. The woman drank shot after shot after shot, laughing harder each time. By the time she started to sway, knocking over her glass and slurring her words, Elisa leaned in close and whispered, "You're just as pathetic as I remember." The woman blinked at her, confused, uncomprehending. And Elisa left. Hours later, she heard the news through the cracks of town gossip. Dead. Alcohol poisoning. Collapsed in the alley. Lisa just laughed. One down. Then she moved on to the lesbian's partner who was in hysterics because her lover was dead. Elisa acted compassionate and understanding, but then reminds her that not only did she lose someone so near and dear to her, but she will also become hated by society when everyone finds out that she's a child molester. The woman looked terrified. Elisa walks away. Next day she was found dead in her apartment from suicide. Next were Jamal and Marcus, the 2 monsters from Hank's house. They had been locked up for other crimes, armed robbery, assault. But they were still breathing. And that, Elisa decided, was unacceptable. She visited the prison once, pretending to be a concerned friend bringing them news. She dropped the hints carefully. Loud enough for the guards and other inmates to hear. Told them what Jamal and Demarches really liked to do to little girls. Told them how many kids they had helped. Told them enough that in the brutal world of prison hierarchy, they were marked as the lowest of the low. Within a week, both were found beaten beyond recognition in separate wings of the facility. Dead. Impaled with broomsticks. Not a single camera pointed at the fights. Not a single witness willing to testify. Just 2 more names crossed off Elisa's invisible list. For dead. And her hands were clean. No weapons. No fingerprints. No crimes. Only whispers and pride and carefully placed seeds of destruction. She smiled to herself sometimes at night, staring up at the cracked ceilings of her latest temporary home. They called her broken. They called her damaged. They called her a lost cause. Maybe she was. But for the first time since she was 6 years old, she didn't feel powerless anymore. The world had made her into a weapon. A weapon no one wanted to sharpen, but no one could throw away either. That same year, Elisa found her way back to the church that the aunt took her to. Trinity Creek Chapel. Small, old, forgotten by most of the world. And inside, nothing changed. No flashing lights. No shouting preachers. Just the soft hum of old hymns and the smell of homemade bread. And two people who changed everything. Pastor James Carter and his wife, Miriam. They didn't smile fake smiles at Elisa. They didn't flinch when she glared at them like a feral animal. They didn't push when she refused to speak for weeks. They just waited. Listened. Loved without expecting anything back. The woman who brought her dumped Elisa into their Sunday school and vanished. No forwarding address, no custody papers. Nobody came looking. That's when Elisa realized she was free. But freedom felt just as terrifying as captivity. At first, Elisa was cold, ruthless, manipulative. She made other kids cry just to prove she could. She whispered poisonous things to test if adults would still hug her afterward. It took over a year of steady, unshakable love before the cracks started to show. One night after Bible study, sitting in the church's tiny kitchen, she finally broke. He told Miriam everything. About the screaming, the slaps, the cold nights with no blankets, the sick men who looked at her like she was food, the families who gave up after one tantrum, the addiction to pornography, the people she'd killed, the shame, the filth, the bottomless pit inside her where love should have lived. She said it all like it was nothing, like it was reading off a grocery list. And when she finished, waiting for the disgust, the judgment, the punishment, Miriam only opened her arms. And Elisa, cold, furious, broken Elisa, collapsed into them, sobbing like she was 6 years old again. The healing years. It wasn't instant. It wasn't perfect. There were setbacks. Nights she screamed in her sleep. Days she flinched when someone touched her shoulder. Times when she almost left, ran, lied, because she still believed she wasn't worth keeping. But Pastor Carter and Miriam never let go. They taught her scripture not as a hammer to shame her, but as a balm to heal her. They taught her Christ's love, not as something she had to earn, but as something that had been bought for her a long time ago, by someone who thought she was worth dying for. And slowly, painfully, miraculously, Elisa became the girl she was always meant to be. Not perfect, not whole, but good. Capable of loving, capable of hope. She was 17 when she finally stood up at a church service one night, heart hammering in her chest, and gave her testimony. Not the polished kind, the real kind, ugly, raw, redemptive. The congregation cried. Miriam cried. Pastor Carter cried. And when she stepped down from the pulpit, a little girl from the Sunday school ran up and hugged her legs without saying a word. That was the moment Elisa knew. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was living. Chapter 61, The Second Confrontation. Miranda was called for another visitor. But this time, it wasn't in the usual room. It was through the glass. She was confused, a little curious, until the guard told her the visitor had requested limited contact. She stepped into the booth quickly, picking up the phone with an eager smile. She assumed it was Ethan again. "Does she want to see me?" she asked the guard, already grabbing the receiver. She pressed it to her ear, eyes scanning the other side of the glass, until they landed on the young woman in the seat across from her. Her breath hitched. Her heart skipped. "Abby," she said softly, her voice sweet, almost performative. "Wow. You've gotten so big. And so beautiful now. Look at you." She chuckled nervously, wiping under her eyes as if emotional. "I've heard a lot about you. You're doing amazing, huh? You make me so proud." But the girl on the other side didn't smile. Didn't cry. Didn't speak. She simply tilted her head, narrowed her eyes, and let the cold silence linger. Before finally speaking. "Think again." Miranda's eyes widened. Her mouth opened slowly. "Wait. No, it can't be Elisa." Her lips trembled, stunned. Elisa's stare never changed. "Bingo," she said bitterly. Miranda sat frozen, the color draining from her face. And on the other side of the glass, her daughter, the one she abandoned, replaced, and erased, was finally ready to speak. Miranda smiled softly through the glass like they were old friends. "You look so grown up," she said lightly. "How's life? The studio? I bet you're keeping busy." Elisa didn't return the smile. She spoke coldly, firmly. "Don't pretend like nothing happened. Like you didn't throw me away." Miranda flinched, her smile faltering. Elisa leaned in slightly. "Let me save you the trouble. Abby's doing great. Her grades are through the roof. She's thriving. She's going places. And so am I. No thanks to you." Miranda tried to interject. I know I made mistakes, but I didn't know how to handle you. You weren't exactly 5. You cried in the middle of the grocery store when you didn't get your way. You pouted. You threw tantrums. Elisa's eyes narrowed. That's what toddlers do, Mom. It's called learning. Learning that you can't always get what you want. You don't throw a kid away because they're acting their age. Miranda rolled her eyes with a weak, regret-laced sigh. Abby was just easier. He was such a quiet baby. Never cried. Never fussed. Elisa let out a dry laugh. She was quiet. Until she was 4. Miranda blinked. I saw the home video, Elisa said, her voice cutting. She threw a full-blown fit at a birthday party because she didn't get to blow out the birthday boy's candles. Screamed like crazy. Grabbed a handful of cake and smashed it into his face. Got kicked out. Miranda opened her mouth, stunned. Elisa didn't stop. You didn't replace me with someone better. You replaced me with someone quieter. That's not love. That's convenience. Miranda looked down at the table, her jaw tight as Elisa's words landed like stones. And this was just the beginning. If she had her older sister and a real mother, Elisa continued, her voice low and bitter, maybe that wouldn't have happened. Miranda stared, speechless. I wish that was my story to tell, Elisa said. A meltdown at a birthday party. Getting kicked out for smashing cake in some kid's face. I wish that was the most humiliating moment of my childhood. She leaned closer to the glass, her eyes locked in and burning. But you know what my story really was? Miranda didn't respond. My story was trying to rip a hand off my mouth because I heard Dad's voice nearby, and the woman who had taken me didn't want me to scream. Miranda's face froze. My story is being 8 years old and forced into modeling for some sick pervert who saw me as nothing but material. The foster care system dumped me in his home and no one cared. He dressed me up, took nasty pictures, said things to me no child should ever hear. Her voice trembled, but she didn't stop. My story is feeling post-coital dysphoria, after things happened that I didn't understand. Feeling sick and hollow. Feeling like something inside me was breaking when I didn't even know what it was. Before I was even old enough to know about sex. Tears began to well up in Elisa's eyes. And in that same home I became an anniversary gift for a lesbian couple who wanted to play out a scene from a lesbian erotica. Yet I was 9. Something about that felt very wrong on a whole new level. A tear rolled down Miranda's cheek, but Elisa didn't give her the space to speak. How about this one? I still have nightmares about this one. When I was 10 I had 9 men lined up to rape me. In any way that got them off. Even if I ended up dead. The 4th guy I'll never forget. While I was already naked, screaming and crying. He strung me up by my feet and pressed a taser to my crotch, referring to it as an advanced vibrator. All they did was laugh at the painful noises I was making while I was being electrocuted. Saying that I was wiggling like a fish. This all happened in front of 2 other terrified girls who were even younger than myself. I tried to be brave for them, but they made sure that I couldn't be. They did this all for sexual pleasure. When they were all finished, they just walked away like they just got done eating lunch. No, wait. Here's the worst part. She gritted her teeth. I was kicked out of 3 foster homes because I kept getting caught using their computers to access porn. Want to know why? Her tone hardened. Because I was addicted to it. Because I was used to it. Because I didn't know anything else. That was the world I was raised in. That's what you left me to. Miranda tried to speak, but no words came. I know. Elisa continues. How could anyone experience any kind of sexual temptation after all of that trauma? The answer is, someone who is absolutely screwed in the head. Honestly, I had no idea just how crazy I was until someone reminded me of who I was meant to be. Elisa's voice tightens, trying not to cry. But she keeps talking. When I was 15, after the terrible things I've done, after I became a monster and got the revenge that I thought I needed. Elisa went on, I finally found a church. And they didn't treat me like I was ruined. They taught me how to respect myself again. They taught me about forgiveness, which I struggle greatly with. They taught me how to love Jesus again. Her voice dropped now, steady and soft. And in the past few months, Dad reminded me of something I never really believed before. She paused just long enough for Miranda to look up again. That I wasn't to blame for what happened to me. As Elisa began to hang up the phone, Miranda pressed her trembling hand to the glass. Wait, please. Elisa paused. Miranda's voice cracked through the receiver, heavy with sobs. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of that to happen to you. I didn't know how to be a mother. I didn't know how to love someone who needed me more than I wanted to give. Miranda placed her palm flat against it, the tears falling freely now. I am exactly where I belong. For what I did to you, she whispered. You didn't deserve any of it. Not the pain. Not the silence. Not the abandonment. She looked at Elisa as if seeing her for the first time. Don't ever let anyone tell you different. You're a miracle. A real one. And I never appreciated you. I threw you away like you were a problem instead of the amazing daughter you always were. Elisa's expression broke just slightly. Miranda's voice softened. Go home. Be where you belong. With a family that deserves you. A family that fought for you even when I didn't. She wiped her face, her final words almost a whisper. I want you to know this, I am proud of you. More than you'll ever know. You became better than I could have ever raised you to be. Elisa's eyes filled with tears. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. With a quiet breath, she lifted her hand and placed it gently against the glass, mirroring Miranda's. Their palms didn't meet, but for the first time their pain did. And then, without a word, Elisa lowered her hand, turned, and walked away. Chapter 62. Sunday that week. The sanctuary was beginning to empty, soft murmurs echoing through the halls as families filed out, shaking hands and offering hugs. The service had been uplifting, a message on healing and restoration, but for the Stricklands, something deeper lingered beneath the surface. Abby walked just ahead of Ethan, Kelly, and Elisa, smiling and waving to a few classmates from youth group. She felt lighter than she had in weeks. The drama with Ashley was behind her. She had her sister, her family. And for once the air didn't feel heavy. They stepped into the lobby, a warm space filled with mingling congregants and the smell of coffee and sugar cookies. And that's when they saw her. Janelle. 16. Small. Soft-spoken. She was standing near the refreshment table with a paper cup of juice in her hand, chatting quietly with a woman from the prayer team. She looked different than she had the last time they saw her, not older, not changed, but somehow brighter. Like a girl who was learning how to breathe again. She turned, eyes scanning the crowd. Then she saw Abby. She smiled politely, then her eyes drifted to Lisa. She froze. The cup nearly slipped from her fingers. Her mouth parted slightly as she took a few slow steps forward, squinting like her brain was fighting to believe what her eyes were showing her. Elisa tilted her head, unsure. Hi. Janelle's lip began to tremble. What did you say your name was? She asked. Elisa blinked. Elisa. Janelle dropped the cup. Juice splashed on the tile, but she didn't flinch. Ethan stepped forward instinctively, concerned. Are you all right? But Janelle was already covering her mouth with both hands. Tears rushed to her eyes. No, she whispered, shaking her head. No, it can't be. Abby looked back and forth between them, confused. What's going on? Janelle took a step closer. 10 years old, she said breathlessly. They took you. And then they took you away before the cops came. You were the bravest one there, but I saw what it did to you. I never thought. Her voice cracked and she let out a sob. Elisa's expression shifted. Slowly, her eyes widened with realization. Her lips parted. Janelle. Janelle rushed into her arms. The hug wasn't neat or quiet, it was desperate. Collapsing. Sobbing, she clung to Elisa like she was afraid she'd vanish again. You're alive, Janelle cried. You're alive, you're okay, you're here. Elisa was still stunned, then wrapped her arms around the trembling girl and held her as tightly as she could. I'm here, she whispered. I'm okay. Ethan's face had gone pale. He stared at his daughter, his little girl, holding another broken child who had once seen her worst moments. His stomach twisted, his jaw clenched. That was her. Janelle's story. His daughter. The one no one could save. He wanted to throw up. He wanted to find the people who did it and make them pay 100 times over. Kelly slipped her arm around his, grounding him. Her voice was gentle. She's safe now. Janelle finally pulled back, her cheeks soaked. She looked at Abby next. You're her sister? She asked. Abby nodded tearfully. Yeah, I am. She's amazing, Janelle whispered, brushing tears from her chin. You're so lucky. I know, Abby said, stepping in to hug them both. The three of them stood there, Abby, Elisa, and Janelle, bound not just by what they survived but by the love that followed. In the background, Ethan wiped his face with his palm and whispered under his breath. God. Thank you for bringing her back. Chapter 63. A full year had passed. 20-year-old Elisa stood tall in the center of her studio's main floor, her voice calm and encouraging as she demonstrated a new combination of moves. The mirrors reflected strength and grace, but the warmth in her tone was what made her students shine. The space had changed in that year. It was brighter, livelier, filled with hope and laughter. She had built not just a business but a sanctuary. A place where kids didn't just learn how to dance, they learned how to belong. But peace has a way of being interrupted. From the far side of the studio, a sharp, impatient voice cut through the music. "Don't start crying," the voice snapped. "You don't just come in here and cry. You save that for home." Elisa froze mid-step, her heart tightening. The voice belonged to Tammy, 45, large-framed, no-nonsense, and hired recently to help with administrative overflow and beginner classes. But clearly boundaries had been crossed. Elisa muted the music and walked calmly toward the other side of the studio. As she rounded the divider wall, her chest sank. A young girl, about 12, sat on the edge of the floor, tears in her eyes, clutching her ankle. Tammy towered over her, arms crossed, mouth twisted in irritation. "I told you to land on your toes, not like a sack of bricks. You wanna cry? Cry at home." "That's enough," Elisa said, her voice low and even. Tammy turned, startled. She just twisted her foot. "She'll be fine." "I said that's enough." Tammy stepped back. Elisa knelt beside the girl, who looked up at her with wide, tear-filled eyes. Elisa smiled gently. "You did nothing wrong," she said softly, brushing the hair from the girl's forehead. "You're doing great out there, okay?" The girl sniffled and nodded. Elisa helped her up and led her into her office, closing the door behind them. She sat the girl down carefully, grabbed an ice pack from the mini freezer and knelt to place it on her ankle. "Let's just rest this a little." "Okay." The girl nodded again, trying not to cry anymore. "You're allowed to cry," Elisa said quietly. "This is a place where you're safe to feel things. You got that?" The girl finally let out a soft sob, less from pain, more from relief. Elisa sat with her on the floor for a few minutes, letting the silence speak louder than comfort ever could. She had once been the girl who cried in a room full of adults who didn't care. Now she was the one who listened. After making sure the ice pack was secure and the girl was resting comfortably on the couch in her office, Elisa stood up and smoothed her hoodie sleeves. Her expression had shifted. Still calm but firm. Unapologetically clear. She stepped back out into the studio where Tammy was already attempting to resume class, barking instructions at the now nervous group of kids. "Tammy," Elisa called across the room, her voice sharp and unmistakable. Tammy turned. "I need to speak with you," Elisa said, but she didn't wait for privacy. She walked straight into the middle of the room where all eyes turned to her. Tammy crossed her arms. "If this is about the girl, I already said she's fine." "No," Elisa said, standing tall. "This is about you. You're done here." Tammy blinked. "Excuse me." "You're fired, Tammy." Whispers rippled across the class. Some kids covered their mouths. Others froze in place. "You don't get to talk to children like that," Elisa said, her voice unwavering. "Not in my studio. Not anywhere." Tammy's face flushed red. "Oh, come on. So I'm the villain now because I don't coddle them when they trip over their own feet." "No," Elisa said, stepping forward. "You're the villain because you don't know the difference between tough love and cruelty. And we don't do cruelty here." Tammy looked around at the students, most of whom were now staring at her in silent disapproval. "You'll regret this," she muttered, grabbing her things. "No," Elisa said, her eyes steady. "I won't." Tammy stormed out, her footsteps echoing with embarrassment. The second the door shut behind her, the room erupted. The kids cheered and clapped. Some jumped up and ran to Elisa, throwing their arms around her waist. Others simply stood there in awe. "You're a hero," one shouted. "That was so cool. You're like the nicest and the bravest teacher ever." Elisa knelt, hugging the ones closest to her, her heart full. Not because she needed praise, but because this was exactly what she promised herself she would become. The adult she always wished had stepped in for her. Once the celebration had settled and the kids returned to their routines, Elisa stepped back into her office to check on Rachel. She was still sitting quietly on the couch, the ice pack resting gently over her ankle. Her cheeks were red from crying, but she was trying her best to keep herself together. Elisa gave her a warm hug. She reached for her desk phone and pulled up the contact information from Rachel's emergency form. With a deep breath, she dialed the number. The moment the line connected, a voice barked, "What now?" Elisa blinked. "Hi, this is Elisa Strickland from Reform Dance Studio. I'm calling about your daughter, Rachel. She had a small injury, twisted her ankle during a landing. I've applied ice and she's okay, but... The voice exploded. Of course she did. That stupid girl always finds a way to screw something up. I swear to... The voice trailed off into swearing and muttering. Should have just left her in the system. In the background, a second voice, sharper, crueler, cut through. If she tells anyone, she's dead. Elisa froze. Her face paled. Her hand shook just slightly. Without another word, she hung up the phone. She looked back at Rachel, who was staring at the ground, tears forming again. Elisa walked over and knelt beside her. Hey, she said gently. Rachel. I need to tell you something. Rachel looked up, confused. I know what it's like to be scared. To be hurt. To feel like no one's going to help you. When I was little, something very similar happened to me. People who were supposed to care about me didn't. People who were supposed to protect me hurt me instead. Rachel's lip trembled. But I want you to know something right now, Elisa said, placing a hand gently over hers. You are not alone. Not here. Not ever again. And if there's anything you want to tell me, I'm here. I'm listening. And no one's going to hurt you on my watch. Rachel hesitated, her eyes darted around the room. But something in Elisa's voice, her eyes, her presence, made her believe it was safe. And then she began. My dad was a good dad, she whispered. My mom took me to a carnival when I was 7 and left me there. He just walked away. Said she'd be back and never came. I waited for hours. Elisa nodded slowly, her heart breaking. The cops found me and put me in foster care. But they never even tried to find my dad. They just stuck me with people who didn't care. One house. The man who lived there he was awful. He did things, hurt me, threatened me. Tears fell freely now. When I told the woman, she said I was lying. Said I was just trying to get attention. Elisa reached forward and pulled Rachel into a soft, protective hug. Rachel clung to her tightly, sobbing into her shoulder. Elisa looked over her shoulder toward the reception desk just outside the door. She gently pulled away and stood up. I'm going to take care of this. But first. She stepped out of the office, where her receptionist was helping a parent with paperwork. Can you cover for me for the rest of the afternoon? Elisa asked quietly. The receptionist raised a brow. Of course. Everything okay? Elisa glanced back toward the office and gave a short nod. Not yet. But it will be. She returned to the studio floor and clapped her hands to gather the class. All right, my stars. I've got an emergency to take care of, so I want you to practice what I showed you earlier. Keep it tight and keep it kind. The kids gave her thumbs up and excited nods. She offered one more smile, then disappeared into her office, where Rachel was waiting, and the next chapter of both their lives was about to begin. Chapter 64. Weeks later, the courtroom was silent except for the sound of papers shuffling and distant sniffles. Elisa sat in the front row, her hand gently holding Rachel's. On the other side of the young girl sat a man in his late 30s, nervous, eyes red, jaw clenched. Rachel's father. It had been 4 years since he last held his daughter. He hadn't even known where she was. And now he was about to bring her home. The judge looked over the documents one final time, then lifted his eyes toward the room. It is the opinion of this court, he said, that the child in question, Rachel Lynn McConnell, is hereby granted full custody to her biological father, Mr. David McConnell, effective immediately. Rachel gasped. Her father let out a breath like he'd been underwater for years. Elisa covered her mouth, tears filling her eyes. This wasn't just a win, it was a miracle. Rachel turned and threw her arms around her father, burying her face into his chest. He wrapped his arms around her like he'd never let go again. Both of them were crying. Elisa wiped at her cheeks, her heart full. She hadn't expected to cry, but seeing the end of something so dark come so early, it undid her. Across the room the air shifted. The foster parents, cold-faced and emotionless, stood as officers approached. Cuffs clicked over their wrists. Beside them, Rachel's biological mother sneered bitterly, until her name was called and the cuffs wrapped around her too. Elisa watched them being led out of the courtroom one by one. No theatrics. No shouting. Just justice. Justice for Rachel. Justice for every child they failed. When it was all over, Rachel ran to Elisa and hugged her tightly. You did this, she whispered. Elisa hugged her back, eyes still shining. No, you did this. I just stood with you. And as Rachel left with her father, hand in hand, finally free, Elisa stayed behind for a moment, taking it all in. Because this wasn't just the end of Rachel's nightmare. It was the beginning of something beautiful. Chapter 65. Elisa sat at the kitchen table, her fingers tracing the rim of her mug as steam curled from the untouched tea. The glow from the early evening sun filtered through the blinds, casting golden stripes across the walls. Across from her sat Ethan and Kelly, watching their daughter with quiet attentiveness. "I want to sue CPS," Elisa said. The words hung in the air, not out of rage but resolution. "I want to hold them accountable. For what they overlooked. For what they allowed. For how many red flags they ignored, not just with me but with kids like Rachel. Kids who never had a chance." Ethan blinked, absorbing the weight of her words. "You're sure?" Elisa nodded. "I'm more than sure. I don't want revenge. I want justice. Not just for me, but for everyone they failed." Kelly placed her hand over Elisa's. "Then we're behind you. All the way." What followed wasn't easy. A storm of paperwork, interviews, investigations, and courtroom sessions consumed the next year of Elisa's life. She testified with composure, speaking raw truth to an institution that had been allowed to operate with impunity for far too long. She relived her pain step by step, forcing the system to listen to what it had tried so long to ignore. Headlines began to swirl. Abuse survivor sues CPS for gross negligence. Teen dance studio owner takes on the system that failed her. Elisa Strickland, breaking the silence. The public response was overwhelming. Survivors came forward. Parents. Whistleblowers. Elisa's story wasn't just hers anymore, it was a voice for the voiceless. After 18 months, the verdict arrived. She won. The state was ordered to pay $50 million in damages to Elisa Strickland for the system's failure to protect her, for the negligence that led to her years of trauma, and for the suffering that could never be undone. The courtroom erupted. Her attorneys were stunned. Elisa simply closed her eyes and let out a slow, trembling breath. Justice had finally listened. But Elisa didn't keep it all. Just a few weeks later, she pulled up to a modest house with white siding and a garden in the front yard. She knocked twice. Rachel opened the door. "Elisa," she beamed, pulling her into a hug. David, Rachel's father, came to the door behind her, smiling warmly. "I've got something for you," Elisa said, handing over an envelope. David looked confused but took it. When he opened it, his eyes widened. He flipped through the papers, breath caught in his chest. "Elisa," he whispered, voice cracking. This says $200,000. Elisa nodded, smiling through her tears. "That money came from a fight I didn't start but one I was determined to finish. And none of it means anything unless I can help people who deserve a fresh start." David looked like he'd been hit by a wave. He leaned against the doorframe, speechless. Rachel stood beside him, eyes wide and glistening. Neither of them could speak, but the look in their eyes said everything. Gratitude. Hope. And a kind of love that words could never quite reach. Elisa walked away with her heart full. Next came the studio. Elisa paid off every remaining dime owed on the building, the utilities, and even the maintenance contracts. She hosted a celebration class that week, bringing in every student and parent. She gathered them in the main hall, standing at the front with her signature warm smile. "I've got a gift for you all," she announced. "Starting now, every class at this studio is $50 a month. Forever." The room erupted in applause and cheers. Parents hugged each other in disbelief. Students ran up to Elisa, hugging her, crying, laughing. Some couldn't believe it. Others said they knew she'd do something amazing. But Elisa wasn't done. She opened up accounts and set aside enough money to cover college funds, medical emergencies, and life dreams for the 3 people who had become her anchor. A large trust for Ethan, who never stopped searching. A separate one for Kelly, the mother she never had but always needed. And the biggest savings of all for Abby. So that no matter what happened in the future, her little sister would never have to face the kind of hardship Elisa had endured. She didn't do it for recognition. She did it because it was right. Because this wasn't just about winning a case or collecting a payout. This was about taking back her life and using it to make the world safer, warmer, better. One child at a time. Meanwhile, in a maximum security federal prison, a man named Hank Wilson stood alone in the locker room. He had aged, but not enough to hide the face that had once haunted Elisa's childhood. The man who had stolen innocence. Who had hidden behind smiles and court papers. Who had taken everything he thought no one would ever come for. But justice had come. And now so had karma. He heard footsteps behind him, heavy, deliberate. He turned slowly. 5 inmates stood in a loose circle, tall and broad-shouldered, their expressions unreadable. One of them smirked. "Well, well," he said, voice low and rough. "What's a pretty little thing like you doing here all alone?" Another stepped forward. "Heard you like tucking pictures. Of kids. Of dancers." Hank backed up slowly, trembling. I don't know what you're talking about." His words were cut off as one of them slammed his head against the cold metal of a locker. The sound echoed down the corridor. A voice growled inches from his ear. "That was my niece's dance teacher. You remember her? The one you exploited." Hank's breath caught. The man leaned closer, his voice dripping with venom. "Now you get to find out what it's like to be small. To be helpless. To be exactly what you made others feel." The walls trembled with Hank's screams, high, desperate, and echoing far beyond the steel and concrete that surrounded him. The guards didn't move. They'd heard it all before. Plug. The trail wound gently through the woods, the sun breaking through the canopy in golden streams. The crisp mountain air carried the scent of pine and early wildflowers, and the only sounds were the rustle of leaves and the steady crunch of boots on packed dirt. Elisa, Abby, Kelly, and Ethan hiked together. They didn't speak much, not because there was nothing to say, but because they didn't need to fill the silence. It was a peaceful kind of quiet, the kind that only exists when a family truly understands each other. As they reached a ridge overlooking a wide valley, Elisa slowed her pace. Then she stopped altogether. Ethan turned, concerned. "You okay?" She stood still, eyes fixed on the horizon. Her hair blew gently in the wind, and her posture didn't carry weight, it carried peace. "I feel free," she said. Ethan's face softened. Elisa turned toward him, her voice barely more than a whisper. "I feel healed." Ethan took a slow step closer and gently wrapped an arm around her shoulder. "That's an answer to my prayers. God is good." She smiled, small at first, but it grew. "Yes, he is," she replied. Together they stood there in silence, a father and his family no longer trying to escape the past, but standing firmly in the present.